Well, welcome. This is the Liverpool 12th Man Show. I'm Liverpool 12th Man, and so are you, because we are all fans of this great team. Therefore, we try our best to do our duty of supporting them each and every time. And I appreciate that you are here with us today for a special edition. I'm sure as you saw the title, it is it is basically a episode on just our current player that holds number 9. Um, the reason why, big up Mark A. The reason why I did this episode specifically was because um, just recently, I don't know why. I do kind of know why, because I know that this player definitely brings out a lot of emotions, whether visceral or not, from not only our fan base, but from others outside of the fan base. It also it also creates some division as to whether you support the player or you don't support the player, in the sense of whether you even it goes even deeper than whether you like the player or not. But um, it's it was ESPN FC that did a couple of pieces that I saw recently that kind of, like, I don't know, picked my or triggered me or poked the bear, basically, and got me thinking, okay, wait a minute, why all of a sudden is this player the target of not only ridicule but also just trying to bring out. And there were some comments that the player made that kind of sparked this, but it wasn't that this was a single episode that they started emphasizing or focusing on the player. They'd already done it 2-3 times before that. That's why it was very interesting. And I guess the player's comments didn't necessarily help the situation. So um, I wrote a comment, obviously, and my comment got the majority of it got positive responses. And then, but of course, the initial comment that I got in response to my comment was pretty negative. So, and it definitely didn't just say anything. It went more at me than it went at Darwin. All right. So it kind of made me say, okay, well, you know what? Like, I have a platform, so I'm going to utilize it just to verbalize my opinion, maybe engage in some conversation with you out there. I'm certain there'll be comments that'll be added to this episode, I'm sure. But it'll be interesting that those people that do leave comments, please do watch this episode from start to finish, because chances are you won't have such anger possibly in you. Uh, it might be a little bit of a kumbaya moment, I guess, as some like to say. But anyways, um, but definitely welcome back to the show. Um, I definitely enjoy the fact that we're going to get into this topic because it is an international break. It's not much more to talk about. Uh, I know that my U.S. men's national team has a game today in about 4 hours or so. Um, I'm on the fence of whether I'll do a watch along for that, but it's against the Canucks, our neighbor to the north. So it should be interesting one. It's for third place, so it's not that it's just for bragging rights, I guess you could say, to not end up fourth in this competition, as Panama will be facing Mexico for this title. But anyways, how is everyone out there doing today? I hope that you're doing well. Of course, got to see a good episode on LRFC. I saw the boys over there. They're talking it up with a bunch of good people. And they're talking about the duties of the captains and the likes of how difficult it is to be that way. Be the person that puts on that armband. It was a great episode, and definitely some great intriguing conversation. Hoping we can kind of facilitate that here. But again, I was talking about how I came to get triggered, and it was the recent ESPN FC segment about Darwin Núñez that got me triggered. Now I've got to say I couldn't disagree more with their takes, a lot of their takes. It's another classic, in my opinion, case of media bias, clickbait, social media overreaction, some surface level analysis, completely missing the bigger picture. So I wanted to break it down with you guys. I want to definitely break it down with you. So, look, this is a challenging narrative. I understand that, especially since the player hasn't been playing well. And he's even come out and said that himself. I'm going to put together some of the comments that he put. I'm going to also give you some of the comments that were made in the segment. So just in case, because I wanted to play the segment, but I don't know if I'll get copyright stricken if I do play the segment, especially since it's ESPN. ESPN is like, a major corporation. They probably wouldn't want me necessarily. It's one thing if you play something from a person on a fellow content creator on YouTube, but to play something by some of the big boys, they sometimes don't look at it so willingly. So yeah, I'll give you the comments. This is basically a lot of the comments of what they were saying. Because basically they were trying to, one of the most repeated criticisms in the segment was about Darwin Núñez's confidence, or rather his supposed lack of. They made sweeping statements like, this is a quote, "You don't have to be a master in body language from Duke University to see that Darwin Núñez has no self-confidence. He looks like he's going to miss every time he's in front of goal." I would say easy. Okay, easy on that one. I would say definitely hang on a second, because confidence is a fluctuating thing. We all have bouts of confidence and sometimes bouts of lack of confidence, but and it's especially the case for strikers, in my opinion. So that's something I think we can all agree on. Even the best, even the greatest strikers have sometimes lacked that killer form in front of net, and even the ability to project that confidence out. But is it important? Because I got asked that question yesterday about body language. And I think it's very important. Sometimes the body language isn't good. And it's a matter of body language, sometimes subconsciously you don't recognize it, but it not only projects a message, it can also set a vibe and a tone around you, which is not a good thing. So I understand that. But it is something that is important to note, is that I don't necessarily believe that Núñez is going through, I don't think that he's going through the best segment of his career per se. As in, I don't think he's on cloud nine when it comes to confidence. It is the case too. He's back with his Uruguayan team. He's made some comments about being happy to be back home and the likes, and hopefully he can, kind of leave his troubles in Liverpool for right now, be able to possibly pick up some confidence with his countrymen, and then return with that. And we all hope that he returns with that confidence back to Liverpool. At least most of us, I believe, do. So I hope that is the truth. Big up, Edward. Big up, Edward. It's good to see you. Big up, Brett, Armchair Supporter, and Hylor. Big up to all of you. But back to what I was saying is, I think the one thing that they failed to mention about Núñez is that his coach did, and this is something his coach called out. I'm going to say his coach, our coach, or however you want to look at it. But Slot did call out his work rate. You could tell that not only his confidence had dipped, but it had started to finally affect, whether it was, we understand how he can sometimes be the target of social media. And it's difficult because not only just it's one thing if it's from rivals and the likes, that's all well and good, but there's a good percentage of our fan base that love him or hate him, but there is those out there that target him specifically. They take out their frustrations. And I would say 95% of the time, those 2 games, yes, he did. But then after those 2 games, he got called out, and all of a sudden, his attention to detail, his commitment, and everything else seemingly returned. His coach called him out for it, and I guess he recognized the fact that he's got to get past it and get beyond it. Because before that, one of the qualities for this player was that you could certainly say that Núñez's work rate never really dipped, regardless of his goal output. He always seemed to, if he missed once, twice, three, it doesn't matter how many times he missed, he's still going to go out there with the same initiative, the same thing, some of that Kobe mentality almost, in the sense of that Mamba mentality, where he's like, miss 100 times, but in your brain you think you're gonna make the 101st time you're gonna make it. So it is difficult, but I mean the greats do that. I'm not saying that Núñez is a great, but I am saying that to take a page out of the greats, of the way they do it, you just go out there with that mentality of thinking that. So that's the mark of a mentally tough player, in my opinion. He's constantly pressing, making runs, pulling defenders out of position. You can't really say that many strikers really can give the same amount of not only pace but physicality that he can, and it is a unique quality, I think, for him as well. I honestly do think that. But how many strikers can you say keep giving their all, even when the goals aren't coming? Sometimes they can get really deep into their emotions, deep into their head, and it can get worse. The fact check is Liverpool is undefeated when Núñez starts the season. That's a unique situation, you can say. Be one thing, I know, there's some people, not mentioned, but there are some that will probably push back and say, oh, well, we've only, at one point, we had only lost 1 game. But at some point, there are people who say, oh, well, we haven't lost that many games. We haven't lost, it's easy to say that for a lot of the players. No, it's not. No, it's not. We've lost consecutive games. And also, we've also seen an absolute horrific week. And one of those key factors could have been if this player had been given the same bit of backing or confidence that other players on this team have gotten as well. So I think that this presence on the pitch is undeniably valuable. I think that Darwin Núñez, for this team, current team, now whether he goes with us in the beginning is one thing or not, or another. We can talk about that. We probably will talk about that, whether you want to see or hear or would even want him to be on this team. Most likely, the tea leaves are leaning towards he will not be with this team. However, we still have 9 games, and I'd like to see him be a contributor towards us getting over the line. So let's talk about something that often gets overlooked, and that is about the ability to deliver in the clutch. I know people don't want necessarily, I know some people are like, oh, well, I don't believe he's a clutch player or the like. Excuse me. But I will, excuse me, I will tell you this, that there is a difference. You could almost call Núñez the king. Who is it? I think it's El Rey, right? I think it's Ray is king, right? The king of late goals, because Núñez has pulled off some absolutely heroic last minute goals. Obviously, we all remember his double against Newcastle, where he came on, equalized in the 81st minute, and then bagged the winner in the 93rd minute or 92nd minute, 90th plus minute, let's say it like that. And also, who can forget about the 99th minute winner against Nottingham Forest to seal the 1-0 win. Since the start of last season, he's scored 6 goals. Let me repeat this. I know some of you might be checking out. I know, because it's all Núñez. But I will say this. Since the start of last season, he's scored 6 goals after the 80th minute. 6. There's only 2 players in the Premier League that have done that more than him. And I would ask, I'll even throw it out because I have some fun trivia questions at the end of this. But I will ask you that. Can you name the other 2 players that have scored more goals after the 80th minute this season? Because I really don't think that's bad. It's not too bad for a guy who doesn't see that much action time these days. Pretty much the only time he is really getting into a lot of these games is 70th minute, 75th minute. But I'd love to see. Don't do a Google search if you can. Don't do a Google search. But I'd love to know. I'd love to see if you guys could guess. There's 2 players. And only those 2 players have more goals after the 80th minute than Núñez. But there's only 2 players. So I'll wait and see if you guys get that one. But I will also say this for his measure. Núñez also holds the record for the most 90th minute winners, away from home in Premier League history. Red Armchair Support. I'll give you this. There's 2. You got one of them, Red Armchair Supporter. You got one of them. There's one other. I'll give you the person. You got Mohamed Salah is one of them. There's one other. Let's see if you can get the second. But that is a crazy goal statistic. Núñez holds the record for the most 90th minute winners away from home. So he is someone that it is not easy to go on the road and win anywhere in the Premier League. And most notably, it is very difficult to do it in the dying minutes of extra time. I'll give you this hint, Red Armchair Supporter. It is not a player on this team. The second player is a player that plays for another Premier. I'll give you a Premier League team too, by the way. But it's a second player is a player that does not play for Liverpool. So, but that is a crazy stat though, that he's got that many 90-minute winners away from home in a league that's seen some of the most clutch strikers ever. This Uruguayan player holds the record in just 3 seasons. He's got the record. I'm saying not just for the season, not for just that. I'm talking about for Premier League history. He has the most. Premier League history, he has the most. That's pretty clutch. It's pretty clutch. I know it's definitely an adaptation of the word in a sense, because there's times when he's let us down. I absolutely admit that. But there are times when he's held us up. And it can be frustrating at times, but even his biggest critics can't deny his impact in those crucial moments. And that's how that's a big portion point of why I was bringing up this, because like the comments that were given in that piece were very, very, very telling. Very telling. I agree, Edward. I'm at the point where I'm at peace with whether he moves on. I'm at peace with whether he moves on. It's difficult to say this too, and this is where I'm going to ask you this too. And this is a conversation. I'm not calling any people out. Not I'm especially not calling any people's names, so we can talk, we have a conversation, we can have two different viewpoints, and you're welcome to have your stance or your perspectives on this. That's why I do enjoy our conversations on this channel. So I can agree with Edward saying, he says he thinks it's best if he moves on. I'm at this very statement of saying that not only I think it's best, I think it's most likely he will be moving on. I think he will most likely move on. Atletico Madrid, as Tyler is saying, he will probably bag goals for Atletico Madrid. And I think this because the system and everything that's produced that's oriented towards a striker is better set up for success for a striker at Atletico Madrid than it is at Liverpool currently. Our goal output comes from our wingers primarily. Inside forwards, if you want to call them that. But I agree. Atletico Madrid, he'll do well. I would love to even see if he ends up going to Atletico Madrid, let's do a swap deal. We can bring Alvarez back to the team, and maybe he's more suited or more particularly interested in doing maybe some of that false nine-ish type work, the hybrid false nine style that we see our current coach implementing into our system. Maybe that happens. I will also agree with Mark A that he has at times been inconsistent with his goal tallies. It's an interesting word, though, when you say inconsistent, because you could also apply to it that we can't say that he has been, or I should say it like this, he has been consistent with his big chance creation, though. Now, if he was inconsistent in the sense of he only created, hypothetically, not even 2 big chances maybe in a game, and in those 2 big chances, he misses those 2 chances, and that's his inconsistency. Or if he creates 5, 6 big chances, and he misses all 5 or 6. You would like to have the player that creates the big chances, because chances are, with a lot of strikers, something that a lot of coaches have been emphasizing is that a goal scorer, even some of the great goal scorers have said this too. Once a goal scorer gets into that groove, it's on like Donkey Kong, you know? And that consistency, the inconsistencies get so pushed to the side that all that happens is that ball just seems to want to find a way to go in that goal. So it is something that I can agree with. There's been inconsistent times with him. Agreed. I agree with Edward. It might be best for him to move on because there's so much animosity, so much, visceral type feelings amongst those of us that are supposed to be supporting our players. And I will tell you this, the one unique thing that is different from us that are just maybe on the other side, maybe in different countries, maybe unable to go to the games, there's one unique thing I can say, and that is the match-going fans absolutely show love for this player. And I think that is one unbelievable and also endearing quality for our fan base to see that maybe online you have one type of atmosphere of expression, but at the games, at where the players and the team is actually committing, it's a whole different story. Whole different story. And it's kind of funny because you can see there are those that speak about how they are not a fan of the player. Online, they let it loose. But when they're at the game, they're out there chanting Núñez, Núñez, Núñez. So it is somewhat endearing to at least hear some of that. I would say that much. So I'm gonna get back to some of this stuff that I was gonna say because like I already spoke about some of the things that he's done, crucial moments and this and that. But like you're talking about consistency. And I'll say this: there is the inconsistency portion of it. And I get that and all that. But there is something I would say: consistency versus high expectations. Because look, I get it; he's inconsistent at times. But those saying he has shown the ability, those saying he hasn't shown the ability to compete at this level, I personally think are talking absolute rubbish. The biggest issue is consistency in front of the goal. And every Liverpool fan knows it. And let's admit that is something that we all want to see improved on. Even Klopp acknowledged it. Slot has said something obviously about not about Slot, not necessarily about his inconsistency, but his work rate. But Klopp even acknowledged it. He said the most difficult thing. This is Klopp speaking. He said the most difficult thing in football is to fight for consistency, and only a handful of players can maintain top form every 3 days. That's the biggest obstacle or the biggest thing that Darwin needs to find a solution for. That's the next step. That's the next step in his career, whether it's with us or without, or with us or with another team. For the player alone, that's his biggest step. Because I mean, the price tag debate is something that gets thrown out there. Yeah, I understand he had a hefty price tag. I know often people want to escalate it to 85 million when initially it was 64 million. But with add-ons and the likes, it definitely goes up. That kind of money can come with expectations. I get it. But transitioning from Benfica to the Premier League is no joke, obviously, for any player, much less from Benfica. Benfica is one of the top teams in the Portuguese league. But I mean, from any of those players that come from Portugal to the Premier League, it's always a progression towards the amount of physicality, the level of play, and the likes. And the league produces some great players. Because at Benfica, he had a 30% shot conversion rate. It's not like the goal is different. It's not a different size. But he had a 30% conversion rate at Benfica. But it's the reality of the English football is much more demanding. I'm not going to overlook that. I think in his debut season, in Darwin's debut season, his conversion rate dropped from that 30% by about 12 points, 12, 13 points, something like around there. And last season, it fell 11%. Even after his brace against Brentford, he's only up to about 12% this season. That's a dip. For context, every other Liverpool forward with at least 200 minutes that's played this season has a conversion rate of about 19%. So his 12%, and they have a 19% rate. So he's 7 points lower than pretty much every other forward on this team. I'm not saying that's not a challenge. I'm not saying that's not good enough, because it isn't good enough. But it doesn't mean that he's not good enough, in my opinion, because he does bring some other intangibles to the conversation. Because critics conveniently ignore the fact that despite the struggles, his goal return hasn't been awful by any stretch. It hasn't. In his first season at Liverpool, he scored 15 goals across all competitions. Next year, he had 18 goals and 13 assists. It's not bad. It's not bad. Sometimes I think he had 15 goals. I want to say like 4 assists or something like that the first year. And it was like somewhere in the single digits. I'm not certain how many assists he had. But it's not bad because he's still creating those chances in the sign, and that's a sign that the goals will come eventually. And I know that his statements about bad luck and the likes is going to definitely ring well or bad for some. But I mean, look, he's hit the woodwork 9 times or something like that in a single season. That's freaking ridiculous. It's a matter of inches or that. But it is interesting, and I will. I'm going to start engaging a little bit more with the conversation with the chat here, and that is he has had some statements that might not have gone over too well. Let's put it that way. I guess is the best way to put it. And but it's just interesting because he hasn't been given the chance to just play. My point is this. This past week was a very difficult week for us. Or the past week before where Liverpool was playing. It was one where we played like absolute crap at PSG, but yet we were fortunate to have a goalkeeper stand on his head and absolutely, save us from being embarrassed in Paris. We were fortunate enough that same goalkeeper had the vision enough to try to do a long ball to a recently subbed in Darwin Núñez, who provided the physical presence to be able to win the ball, create enough attention for 3, if not 4 PSG players to converge on him, to create a channel for Elliott, who had just been subbed in for the final 3 minutes of that game, to have the know-it-all to fill that channel, find a great pass from Darwin, absolute sitter, for him to be able to put it through for our winning goal. It took a team to wake up against a Southampton team in the second half by the same player I just mentioned, Darwin Núñez, for us to get back to a level of playing the way we should be playing. There's no way we should have been stifled in not scoring against the Southampton at Anfield. But it took a goal from Darwin and then a penalty that a penalty in the box that he got for us to go up 2-0 in that game, or 2-1 actually in that game, because we were down in that game, by the way, too. It is something to say when it comes to this player that he's seen some interesting dips, and he's also seen some very, very praiseworthy moments as well. I just don't think why and where I was bringing up this episode was primarily because some of the comments that were made by the pundits on ESPN FC were just not even close to being accurate. And excuse me. And it's unfortunately the way that I tend to see the comments placed on him. So I'm going to get into some of these, some of your discussion about it, and also see if I can get this little bit. I have a little quiz, a little trivia for us as well. But um, let's see. I know, Marion. You better. I knew Marion would be here for today. Hyler is saying, just to compare, Núñez has this season 40 matches, 7 goals, and 7 assists, compared to 54 matches, 18 goals, and 13 assists last season. Yeah. But I will say this too. In the major difference between those statistics, Hylor, if you want to look at it, is look at how many games he made appearances in. Now, he might have 40 matches, but he's also 40 appearances in those. And just to tell me how many games he started in that 40 matches and how many games he started in the 54 matches, I think you'll see a difference. I definitely think you'll see a difference. Yeah, Núñez is not only in that regard. Elliott is another example. I think that right now we're seeing a lot of different examples of how difficult it is. And this is just my perspective. I think it's very difficult for some of these players to get a real grip on any bit of confidence. Let's just be honest. When you recognize the fact that you're not going to play, you're not going to start, unless it's a random FA Cup game or maybe a League Cup game or something like that, chances are you're not going to start unless you're a part of that selected 13 to 14 different players that get starts. That's just that's the honest to God truth. What else do we have here? Slot doesn't have his players yet, so it's a waiting game. It is a waiting game. I understand what Mark A is saying too. There's a lot of what everyone's saying in the chat that I do agree with, and again, this is why I'm just trying to have a conversation. Even if my opinion or my points are different than yours, do not take it offensively. There's no attacks. Another thing. So Hyler saying, and another thing is also that the fact that Hata is also having a bad season, and it's not only because of injuries. Curious, isn't it? I think that is a fantastic point, and this is why and how I'm emphasizing that people have been calling out for other attackers to be put into this offense. If we were giving the opportunities and the chances and touches that these current strikers get, I don't believe there would be a night and day difference. I don't believe there would be a night and day difference between the outputs of these players. I honestly do think that what we have seen from Slot's comments about saying that, for instance, Slot came out and said that he wished that he could play Hatsa every game or something like that. He wished he could play him 90 minutes every game or something along those lines. And he was just basically emphasizing his belief and trust in the player, and the recognition that Hata is a talented player. And that's something that I'm not going to dismiss at all. I think he's a very talented player. Excuse me. But he's just not in form currently. I don't know what it is, but we can all agree that there's something off about Hata this year. Now, whether it's because of the injuries, excuse me again, or not, I can tell you that there is something different going on with Hata right now. But I think that Hata's still a good goal scorer. I think his confidence has definitely slipped. I think that this coach has taken an initiative of saying, and albeit, and I can understand some of the logic behind it, but maybe this coach is saying to himself, I've got two strikers I can choose on this team, two relatively positioned nines on this team. There, you can make an argument that Cody could play that role, but you've got two players primarily that are positioned to be nines in this team. That is Hatta and Núñez. And he's probably said in his mind, in the sense that he understands that Hatta is a fantastic and more accurate player when it comes to his ability to be clinical, as the word that people like to use. Thus, the reason why Hatta was our starter from the very jump of this season. And then he's probably saying to himself, the one way you can get a player back into form is to play him. You just you play your way back into form. And I think that this coach has maybe said, too often maybe than not, that he wants to make his commitment to find Hatta's form and allowing for Hatta to continue to play despite not having a previously good game. I can ask anyone if they think differently, but I would certainly say that. Now, I know people can often come out and say, because I know that I will have in the comments, and I know, I see Daryl, pick up Daryl. I know that I'll have people in my comments for this show. I know people that will come on this and will definitely take pot shots at the player. Oh, 1 second. That will take pot shots at the player, but we think we're gonna have some participants in the chat. But here is something I can say. We all have our own crystal ball to say what and how another player is going to play and this and that, and how it's going to be different with this or different or not different with that. I get all those parts and points. But what I can say as a defense is this. I know a lot of people will say things about Núñez has hurt their feelings. But other than insults about the player, other than comments maybe that are sometimes a little bit out of line, bring up points that will be able to be debatable. That's where, like, sometimes I think our conversations don't really touch base with each other, because, like, I know some people will just come at me and be like, oh, well, Núñez is this and Núñez is that. No, Núñez is crap. Núñez is, I can't stand Núñez. And da-da-da-da-da. But yet you don't really bring any context to it other than your feelings. Were your feelings the same way when Núñez provided the assist again on the PSG? Were your feelings the same when Núñez had a game-winning goal? Were your feelings the same way? Were you still saying the same disrespectful things that you say when this player was either the direct result of the goal or the person providing the assist for the goal for us to have an equalizer, a game-winning goal? Ask yourself that. Ask yourself that, because the same thing that you could say, 7 goals all season, worse than last season. Okay, you want some facts, Daryl? Tell me how many starts that player has had. Tell me how many starts he's had. Because I can tell you this much. The those 7 goals, a good number of them have been in games where he's played and come in as an impact sub. I know that that people sometimes get so wrapped up in their feelings about frustrations for a player that has provided some relief for those frustrations. But rather than acknowledge those situations, you want to reflect and only focus on your feelings of being possibly let down or not being, or this player not being to the standards and levels that you want him to be at. I know people even go as far as being like, I could have scored that goal. No, you couldn't. Let's not get crazy. And last season, he started nearly every game, Daryl. You're absolutely right. And last season, he had 30 plus GA. Tell me other players in the league that had those kinds of numbers in the striker position. Tell me those kinds of players. Tell me. And let's not get it twisted. Every striker, and I mean even your greats, have missed open netters, if you want to call it that. I know that there's been goals that I'm not trying to give him an excuse for missing an easy goal. He needs to score it, plain and simple. But I've seen Holland missed open net goals. I've seen some of our greats miss complete sitters. A la, what's wild is our Egyptian king, Mohamed Salah, one of the best players ever to grace the Premier League, in my opinion, against PSG at Anfield. Did he miss easy goals? Did he miss it? Did he miss two easy, relatively easy? If anyone would have thought that Mohamed Salah was going to have the opportunity, do you think that Mohamed Salah would have missed those two opportunities in the PSG game? No, I didn't. But the standards and levels are different. Mohamed Salah is not, I'm not, this is a not a knock against Mohamed Salah at all. Because I'll give him the opportunity to take those shots again and again and again and again. But again, because your opinion is already just basically nailed to this side of, or whatever side, right or left, whichever, of the conversation, is different. And it's not a different conversation, Daryl. You want to have, I'm willing to have like very deep and very like context-driven conversations. Because again, I know me and Daryl are going back and forth a little bit here, and I'm going to try to create a little dialogue with everyone in the chat. But I think we're going to have some people joining us too pretty soon. Apparently, I didn't put the link in my group chat, so hopefully the crew will be here shortly to join us. My phone was dead, so I couldn't do it earlier. But I just find it interesting. Like, this is what I mean by interesting. People tend to go to the extremes and also push towards a narrative that is slightly disingenuous, in my opinion. And why I say could be a little bit disingenuous is because I already told you, for instance, that Núñez had a high conversion rate in the Portuguese league. We've seen those numbers dip. I'm not disputing that. But what I am saying is that that's not saying that he can't score. Also, when coming to the what I mean by disingenuous, he's not a 90 million pound player. He wasn't. He was sold for 64, and he had additions to his contract that made it close to like 80, 84 point something. That's not 90. But if you say 90, it sounds heavier. It sounds more towards the, hey, this is bad. And I'm not saying 84 is anything. It's still a lot of money there too. 64 is a lot of money. But what I can say is this: the initial price, whether it's the additions and stuff, because a lot of the players that you see get transferred have incentives and everything. But and there's a difference because he's never been a 90 million pound player. It's never been the case. And he's not even a really 84 million pound player, because realistically, he was bought for 64 point, I'd have to look it up, but 64 point, I think 2 or 4 million, somewhere in 64 point something million range. And why I'm bringing that up is because unfortunately, his price tag is something that people will utilize and use. He didn't ask to be picked for that price. But if you look at, comparatively speaking, with other strikers, especially in this market, you'll see that money, or that number, is what a striker will go for. And what I mean by that is, whether it is Solanke, who got picked up by the Spurs, 65 million pounds. Whether it is, hopefully some of the guys will come in. The player for he was a player that we were going to possibly go for too as well. Ended up going to Juventus. His price tag was around that much. Whether it's Hoyland or a lot of these players. I mean, you could even make, and this is how scary it is, Antony went and got a 90-some million pound transfer. He's not a striker, I get that, but he's a forward. 90 million, plays for Manchester United. Stinker of a season. Stinker of a Manchester United presence. Right now, he's bagging goals and doing well in La Liga. And it's not La Liga is some Farmers League, like retirement home league or something. Oh, look at that. Still wearing the captain's armband, by the way. Hold on, people. We're going to bring in me. Still got the captain's armband, I see.
Yeah. I thought I'd retain it, thought it'd show me face. You're all right, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, definitely good.
Excellent. It's what we like to hear. Reds together in jolly good company.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun ride today, because I'm glad you're wearing the captain's armband, because it's not going to be an easy one. And this is not saying that Lee has the same opinion as I do. I know Lee has been critical of Darwin, so I'm sure he's going to be objective with his takes. But what it is we're going back. I'm going back and forth a little bit with Norm, or excuse me, with Daryl. I did see Norm's chiming in too. I saw High Lord's got some comments as well. I know Trudon's got a bunch of them, I'm sure. Big up Trudon, by the way. And basically what I was getting at here, Lee, is it's an interesting conversation when sometimes you have a player, especially when he is, especially when you have a player like a Darwin Núñez in the conversation. And why it's difficult to have those conversations, as I just saw Daryl change his name from Núñez to Núñez's poi, and he stating he's garbage. Why I am saying this, Mr. Darrell, is what's unique about the conversation is so many of these players or that we see play for this club. Núñez has had some incredible moments for us. And he's been forced to work in a role. He's been forced to work in a role that isn't really conducive to a high-scoring forward. So many people will bring up, like, as in, it's what's crazy about is that Haaland and Núñez got transferred into the Premier League same year, and automatically became, because they're high profile and high price players, it was Darwin versus Haaland, right? And I'm going to bring up some of the comments that were made that made me have to like even bring up this topic. But there was from that very first game here, and I'll bring down while he goes and does that. I'll bring it down. I'll wait for him to get back. Ever since that game, it's always been Darwin versus Haaland. People bring up Haaland and they bring up Darwin, but they don't bring up the fact that both of these players play in dramatically and uncategorically two different systems. Two different systems. The one unique thing that definitely helped his numbers, Núñez, originally, was that in Klopp's system, it was in Klopp's system. When JK gets here, Darrell, we'll get you a link. But in Klopp's system, he was able to be a part of a real, at least something of an offensive forward line that would allow for some involvement of the. I'm gonna add you back to the stage. It would allow for you to have some involvement in the play more often. But there's parts and points, and this is something I'm going to say too. Everyone's getting on the fact about, as of late, and this is something I'll ask Lee, and I'll ask you in this chat as well. Mohamed Salah, as of late, would you say that he is playing well? Would you say that he's at the same level he's been at all season? Or would you say that maybe you've seen a dip in his output and productivity?
For me?
Yeah, for you.
Yeah, for me, I just think it's the team that's had a dip. The entire team's had a dip, and we weren't giving them the opportunities as much. And that could be said for any of the forward players. They weren't getting as much supply against PSG. We did have chances, but we weren't as rampant as what we have been because we couldn't get the ball off them as much. As we didn't have the ball as much as we wanted at times. The Newcastle one, that was just the PSG thing was like the catalyst for the Newcastle result, wasn't it? Because we were taken so late. Well, so late. As late as you can go, extra time, the extra half an hour after 90, and then penalties, and then to lose on penalties, it really took it out of us. And any physical deficiencies that there were in the team that day were just probably exaggerated by the mental hangover from going up the Champions League with such narrow margins. It was hard for the players probably not to accept, because they know PSG are a very good side, and there's no shame losing to them, but the players had to let that sink in those few days. That's what they had to deal with, whereas Newcastle had the week off. I think had we won the penalty shootout, we might not have looked so tired, because it's in your mind as well as your body, isn't it? Tiredness. when players have been playing a lot. Like, it's not just physical, it's mental as well, mental tiredness, isn't it? From having to go every 3 days in really big games.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it, really. I don't think Mo, he didn't have a great game against PSG or Newcastle, but he wasn't really allowed to. It wasn't his fault. It was nobody's fault, really. They just weren't two great performances. You know, it happened at a really big time of the season, just when we didn't want it. But we sort of all had a feeling that it might happen and it might be coming, where we run out of legs eventually. And it just seems to happen. Slot might dispute that and say, no, we had enough legs, we just didn't carry out the plan properly. But we just looked listless, didn't we, in that final, both physically and mentally. And we let them get in front, and it was hard from there on in, wasn't it, once they got in front?
Mm-hmm.
Because they are quite a tight team. When you get in front, Newcastle, they don't give up an awful lot. When they're playing well, when they have one of their good days, which is what they had in the final. They had a good day for them.
Mm-hmm.
We just weren't able to carve out enough chances, basically. So you can't blame the forwards for that. Yes, they all had a bit of an off day, all the players. So, you know, if you're not playing good at the back and in midfield, you're not going to be playing good up front. Really, are you?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't look at it. I didn't look at the PSG game in the final and go, "God, he's meant to be our main man," and he couldn't even win the game. You can't win every game. He can't win every game. Sort of, not that he wins it on his own. It's a team game. Do you know what I'm saying? Though, you can't pull it out the hat every single match. And that's all it was, really. I think people were disappointed that he didn't pull it out the hat, Mo, in those matches. But you can't do it in every match, and he pretty much had been hitherto that point, doing something in every single game. I looked at a fantastic team, PSG. We all accept that now. I think we all knew they were a good team beforehand and thought it'd be a tough game. We all predicted it'd be a tough game and thought we'd get through narrowly, but no shame losing to them. I am keen to see them matched up with Real Madrid, though, in the semi-final. I really want to see that. It's a game I'd like to see. Not against Villa, because I'd be happy for Villa to go through either way, like, whatever happens. But I would like to see the PSG Madrid match, just to see how them two match up and see how Madrid go against them, like, sort of thing. Because Ancelotti will be aware of that. Like, you know, if he comes up against them, he'll be looking, you know, they went to Anfield and won. So it'd be a good midfield battle, wouldn't it? PSG and Madrid's midfield. I'd be interested to see that midfield, just the whole pitch. A good battle between the two teams, but especially in midfield. I'd like to see that one in the semi-final. I think it'd be a good one. It'd be a bit of a blockbuster that could go either way.
I think, like, why again, excuse me, why I brought that up is because I personally do think this. I think that Hatta is an incredible player. I think Hatta, when in form, when fit and in form, he can be a dynamic player. But there is a reason why Mohamed Salah came out with quotes saying that there's only one player that he enjoys playing more than Núñez, and that's Bobby. Bobby Firmino is the player that he enjoys playing the most with as a striker, because Bobby sacrifices portions of his game, but also those sacrifices create opportunities, and he does work that possibly provide the opportunities for not only Sadio, but also for Mo to do the things that they do. But one thing unique about Núñez is that he has said that Núñez allows for him to have a different level, bring a different level to his game. And why I'm bringing up the whole part and point about Núñez and Salah, or at least Salah's measured involvement and everything else. And again, let's not go down the whole Ramadan thing. Ramadan, we've watched. Tell me, does Sadio Mane played during Ramadan and had some of his best numbers? So, I mean, let's not go down that route. If you want to go statistic wise, I'm not the person to mess with on that. But when it comes to why I'm bringing up Salah's somewhat dip in performances is because some of those channels and creations and opportunities to get into to spaces for defenses to be pushed and pulled differently is because of who you have in that number 9 spot. If Hata's there, fantastic. Fox in the box, cool. Maybe we can get some different things. But there's no way that you are going to tell me in the chat or in the comments that you think that Hata has more pace or is more looked at as being of a more pace merchant than Núñez. And as a defender, knowing that player, Núñez, is going to be able to stretch the field more than Hata will. So you create a defensive line in front of you that knows that they do not have to worry about that speedster in Núñez as opposed to Hata. That's the difference. And that's why Mo Salah made those comments that Núñez makes his game or makes his approach to the game a little bit more easier because he's able to get that space. He's able to get those opportunities. And thus the reason why you saw a player, you guys want to talk about his performances last year of, what was it? I think it was like 15. What was? Oh, now you're gonna make me have to think of what it was. What was this statistics? I think it was of 30 plus GA, basically. I can't think of what the number was off the top of my head. If you're gonna take that, the reason why he was able to get such high numbers is because he had more starts last year than he does this year. He's able to connect, get into the rhythm of a game with Mohamed Salah. And the unique thing about Núñez this year is that even when he has been asked to be an impact sub, don't tell me he has not.
No, he's always had a good link up with Mo. He's always had a good understanding with Mo. Mo understands, the strengths of Darwin's game, with your pace and movement at the right times, and often he's found quite a few balls for Darwin, hasn't he? They do link up quite well, yeah. When they play together, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
As I was saying to Nalanti before, I'm looking forward to, okay, if he leaves and we replace him, I'm looking forward to seeing whoever we have with Mo and another on the left, to see what that forward line's like then. If it's to Arnie's specifications, if he can find the right forward to play that role.
Arnie's system, right. Absolutely. That's the reason why I don't understand. People want to criticize this player, and for whatever motivation they have to do so, more power to you. I am from more of the case and stage of supporter that tends to try to uplift our players rather than bring them down. But that's whatever's your bag is your bag. I will say this though. I'm trying to emphasize this part and point. We have already seen the fact that he has been impactful. He has played well. He has played poorly. Not disputing those things either. But what I am going to emphasize is that when it comes to Núñez, or not even Núñez, excuse me, when it comes to our number 9 or our striker this year, tell me one player that has played striker where you've been like natural fit. We've had 3 different styles of players play the position. Let's break it all down, Mr. and Mrs. Núñez's poo-poo. We've had 3 different players play the 9 for us this year. We've had a certainly outright number 9 in Núñez play. We've had a fox in the box style, number 9 in Hata play. We've even had a hybrid version of a striker, I guess if you want to call it that. He's a forward, but he's not a 9 in Lucho play. 3 different versions. Now, have we seen any bit of like dynamic scoring from any 3 of those players? Are all 3 of those players crap? Is that what it is? Or can we not expand our parameters to understand the fact that our formation and our system that plays under Arne Slot is not suited towards a number 9 really being the funnel of goals? And whether you had if we had Holland there, it would not matter. It would not. If we had, and the reason why, great point, Callum, Diaz did well in the number 9 against Leverkusen. He did exceptional. That was his best game. And you know how I love Lucho. He did exceptional that game against Leverkusen. But I will say this, when it comes to even Diaz playing our number 9, what is the one thing that a lot of people would say was the reason why they were bigging him up for his role in number 9? And that, in my opinion, was because of his work rate, his ability to defend, to counter press, all the intangibles of a false 9 that don't go with credit, that don't necessarily get put into statistics for you to go, wow, this and that. It gets to the same conversation that we used to have. Remember the conversations we used to have about Bobby and how awesome of a player Bobby was? And like, I used to get into arguments about how Bobby was integral to our team. Get into conversations about how important he was as a player. And then you get into conversations with those rivals, and they'd be like, nah, Bobby's not that good. Bobby's, he's okay. But he's phenomenal in the system that he was being put in because he fit the role of what we wanted him to play. And that is a false 9 that's willing to not be the primary goal scorer on these teams. That's why we could have a year where both of our inside forwards / wingers ended up getting the golden boot in the same year. But now, because we have an outright striker in Núñez, unless that formation, unless that system changes, the expectations of what you want from Núñez has to change as well. Thus, he's having a difficult time of adjusting his game towards that, because he's being asked to do things that normally he is not asked to do as a 9. But no one wants to have those conversations. They just want to revert to, he's crap. JK, big up. Welcome to this conversation.
Hey, bro. Yeah.
Big up.
Bless, bro. Bless Lee.
Oh, good. I haven't had any caffeine in me, no coffee, no nothing. This is just, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, right.
But for me, bro, I will sum the Darwin thing up. I would say, Nolante says this as well often. Now, Darwin is a guy, he'll come in for a game, he'll come in for 2 games. In them 2 games, he'll get a goal and an assist in both games, whatever. And then what will happen? The 3rd game will come, and he's nowhere to be seen. And that's happened throughout his Liverpool career. He's never had 7, 8, 9, 10 games, one after each other, started. Say, go on, lad, show us what you can do. Is that his fault? Is it the manager's fault? God knows. Because for me, pre-PSG and Newcastle game, Darwin got an assist for Elliott in Paris, got the first against Southampton, won the penalty. So he was busy. He was busy in them 2 games. Second half of the Southampton game, first half, no one was there. Like that.
No one was busy. Right.
You know what I mean? But after that, and then I was thinking, okay, second leg against PSG, let's see Darwin start instead of Jota. And what happened was, I'm never a guy who gets miserable or sad after seeing a team sheet. But that day when I seen that team sheet and I seen Jota there, I was disappointed. I just felt it isn't the game where he's going to click for Jota. It isn't the game.
Yep.
And that's why I was really disappointed with Darwin not scoring. So that's for me, that's been Darwin's sort of problem, game time and consistent game time. But there's a player in him. I feel the goals he scored for us, some have been beauties. For me, probably the Brentford chip, probably the favourite, maybe the Newcastle second one.
Oh, yeah, that was probably his best goal. That's probably his best goal.
But even that Real Madrid one, bro, that little back flick, that little back kick he did, for me, class. And that's the guy there who shows me signs of a player in him. You know what it is with football fans sometimes? When a guy comes to your club and throughout the season he scored 7 goals, but all them 7 goals were beauties. You think, you know what? We need that 7 goals to turn into 21 goals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a player there in Darwin. He can finish.
Yeah.
You know? Same as Chiesa. That's another guy who could have come in for them 2 games we had. But for me, the Darwin topic, us fans have supported him. The fans support him at the crowd. Hence why he's always kept it cool with us at the club. He's not made no trouble, no funny business. And he could have been pissed off a lot, thinking, I've been coming here for such big money and I'm on the bench. And he's not done it, bro. So hence, for me, if he moves on, he moves on. Yeah, and I wish him the best. I actually will watch his career and I want him to score goals. You know why? He gives 100%, bro. And but what it is, if he cost 5 million or we got him on a free, fair enough. But he was probably one of our most expensive signings, you know?
He was. And quite possibly it's the reasons why I say, you know,
signs come, Dara, when go on.
Go ahead. Ask. Go ahead.
I'm going to say to Dara, signs come, bro, when you get consistent game time. You only get, like, signs are shown that in them 2 games, pre the big games that we just had against PSG and Newcastle. Darwin showed signs of, in 2 games, he showed signs of he wants to win the game. 3rd game, he didn't even start. 4th game, he didn't even start. So for me, I can't blame Darwin all the time.
Yeah, it does. It gets kind of old sometimes when I hear some of the
man.
When I hear some of the criticism. And imagine, Lee, you're wearing the captain's armband today. You're on the screen for all the people to enjoy, right? Imagine you're seeing Scouse Lee here in his glory. He's having such an incredible day. He's out there. He's scoring. He just won us the game. Next game comes up. He's looking on the team sheet. Doesn't see his name. Huh. Okay. Interesting. You think that's like it takes a lot of professionalism and a lot of confidence in a role, in a position where confidence is everything. I get you apply it to almost every position on the pitch, but it seems to me personally, I think that the 2 most important positions when it comes to confidence is goalkeeper and striker. If those two players have to have the utmost of confidence in their game. And even when you've performed well, you've gone out, you've done sacrifices, you've tracked back, you've done all the grunt work and all the dirty work. And then you look at that team sheet and you're like, I'm going to be on the bench again. It's not easy.
Yeah. When you're the sole forward, I mean, okay, we play 3 up front like this 4-3-3, but really, like, the centre forward's the sole forward, isn't he? He's like, he's got a heavy burden to carry, like, hasn't he? It's a tough role, isn't it? It's a tough gig because, like, you know, in the past, it was always a striking duo. You know, you always had a pairing up front, like, in tandem together. That's not the way now. It's like one centre forward with wingers and two wingers in it, like. And it can be, it is a burden, and you do need your confidence and that. So being in and out of the team has sapped his confidence. I don't think his numbers are hideous this season when you look at them, and they're certainly not when you add it all up over the 3 seasons. His numbers aren't that bad, are they? With goals and assists. It's like, like we're saying, he's not anything like, rubbish, garbage, a donkey. He's none of those things. He's a good player. He's good forward. He's got skill. He's just not the man, we don't think, for Slot. And if I'm honest, I don't think...
I can agree with that.
If Klopp would have stayed, I don't think he'd have been the man for Jurgen. I think Jurgen would have reconsidered and tried somebody else. But I mean, that's it, not every signing comes off. It's not that he's a bad player. We can see he's a good player and he's got something, but it's not what we need, unfortunately. But it doesn't make him a bad player by any means. Like, I think when people go overboard with the criticism, it's because we paid a lot of money for him. Had we paid 35 million for him instead, people might not have been as harsh, but people's expectations were built up.
What's the going rate, though? Real quick, what's the going rate? What do you think is in your mind when you think of strikers? Because I can pull it up for you guys if you want. But in your mind, for some of the top strikers that have been transferred in teams, what do you think their prices have been? I can answer for you quickly. Around 60 million is the going rate for a striker. That's the average, is it? What it averages out? About 65 million is the average for what it costs to get a striker or get a striker, and that's like the base. Yeah, he was on a hiding to nothing from the beginning, Darwin, like with opposition fans, because they were saying we paid 100 million for him. Now, what they were saying was we were going to pay 75 or 80 or whatever if we paid it all, and then in euros it might have been 100, but in reality we paid not more than 65 million, have we? Pounds, that is pounds. Obviously that's closer to 80 million euro. But if we get the lion's share of that back, then we haven't really lost out, have we? In fact, we haven't lost out at all. If we can recoup a good bit of money, which you don't always do, if you have a signing that doesn't work out, you don't always manage to get that much of your money back. Like, you lose a significant amount. But if we were to bring in 55 million for him, we'd hardly be losing anything, would we? It'd be nothing what we've lost. And the goals and assists that he's contributed in the time. Okay, we've only won 2 trophies. No, we won 3, haven't we? We've won 3 with Darwin. Is it? Yeah, we won 3 FA Cup and 2 League Cups in it. We've won with them. So, yeah, it was worth 10 million, surely. Yeah, I'll give you a little stat here. This is the last 10 years. So I had some in my notes here. I had to find it. This for strikers in the last 10 years. Inflation and transfer fees has been 116%, including add-ons, and 90% without considering conditional payments. There's a market out there. People don't want to necessarily acknowledge it, but there's a market. And it just tends to be that strikers, out of all the positions, is certainly the most high-profile position on the pitch, and you're going to spend money on a striker. Just that simple. There's nowhere to hide if it goes wrong for strikers, is there? Like, it's glaringly obvious then to other people looking in when it doesn't work for a striker. They're the first people that get pointed at usually. And that's just human nature, because strikers get the headlines, when they score and when they're doing well, whatever, and when they're valued part of the team, they get, more of the glory. So then when it goes wrong, they get a little bit more of the stick. I suppose it's fair in that way. Like, yeah, I've been critical of him, Darwin, but
it does make me laugh when people say like he's a donkey and like he's like one of the worst of all time or something. I mean, come on, that's just patently untrue, isn't it? Like,
no doubt, no doubt.
Look, bro, when we look at
Bob
Darwin
with the stat to kind of counter Callum's stat, it's the truth. Tell me, what's our record with Núñez starting? Do you know what our record is, Lee, with Núñez as a starter? Or do you know how many losses we have with Núñez as our starter?
We've not lost yet, have we, with him as a starter?
Really?
We haven't. Núñez as a starter for this team, we're undefeated.
There you go.
It's quite surprising. Yeah, you said that yesterday. Yeah, I remembered that from yesterday that we hadn't lost one that he started. But if that's true, that is quite. That's a good thing. There, that's a good thing, though.
Yeah, but he's trash. He's crap, right? Yeah, so much so that he's undefeated when he starts, and we tend to have a better performances when he does start.
Yeah, I think as I said before a minute ago, whatever, what it is with him is like people had such high hopes, and because he was a record-free sort of thing.
That's wild too, right? By the way,
it's been hard for people to accept that it hasn't worked, but you know, I've seen much more expensive signings not work than Darwin. You know, at other clubs, it doesn't always guarantee success. Like, you know, breaking your own transfer record, it doesn't mean the guy you're bringing in is going to work in the long run. I mean, Stan Collymore was one we broke our thingy for Stan, and although he was promising and good at first, it just didn't work out. I've seen it at other clubs, definitely, like loads over the years, strikers or whatever position you want to name. For big money come in, didn't happen. So, you know, that's just football, isn't it? Like, we all understand that about the game, that nothing's certain. Even sometimes transfers.
Bro, when you look at when you look at the stats,
oh man, that's what I'm telling you, people. It's funny. There's no giving it. Like, if you've got your mindset that you just don't like the player, it's like I'm not going to give 1 inch. We just lost JK for a second. I'm not going to give 1 inch. Not one. Not one. Big up. Yeah, there you go, JK.
I was just looking at Núñez's stats for this season. Yeah, in the Premier League, he's played 23 games, 5 goals, 3 assists, and that's like 962 minutes. That's about 41 minutes per game. So, and he's got 18 goal involvements. So 41 minutes in that 23 games he's played. In total, he's got 40 games he's sort of took part in, 7 goals, 7 assists. For me, not consistent game time. He's always coming on a sub or something.
And he's not even sometimes getting even like that great of minutes, to be honest with you. He'll get on, but it's like he'll have like 12 minutes to do something, or he'll have, you know.
Yeah.
Like he'll get on at the 74th minute or something and be like, go do something.
Try and do
I never
said,
bro. I never see the difference is this is why not to cut you off, JK, but I'm reacting to the I do tend to find myself getting involved in the conversation of the chat sometimes. And then, like, has there ever been one mention of me saying that Núñez is world class? Have I said that once? Have I ever said that once?
I've not heard that. I've never said
ever.
it. I've never heard you say it. None of us have ever said it. But we just say there's a player in there.
Right.
For me.
But this is why I mean. This is
never
what
said
I mean
he's world class.
The reason I bring that up is because he isn't world class. Stop it. When have I ever said that? Why I'm bringing up the conversation, why I'm bringing up this conversation is because the same extremes that people will take this conversation to can be sometimes pretty nauseating. There's no way in hell, double hockey sticks, that I have ever said that Núñez is world class. But I have said that Núñez can be an impact sub or an impact player. I have said that Núñez can be a difference maker when it comes to the difference between the two typesets of players that we have in the ability of bringing physicality and bringing pace to that position over any player that wants to play that position, whether it's Cody, whether it's Hata, or even if it's Diaz. People want to overlook that part and point.
Yeah, I think we're all agreed that there's a player there with Darwin, and he could be a really good player in the future. It's just not going to be here, I don't think. He's just not right for what Slot has in mind. So, yeah, like JK said, I'll watch his career with interest when and if he moves on, because I want to see how he does, like in another league and that, and hope it goes good for him.
Right.
It was to do with most our players, unless it's a player that's left us, chose to leave us, and we didn't want him to leave. In that case, like, then I couldn't give a stuff about them. You know what I mean? But if it's a player who, you know, wanted to be at the club but just didn't make it, then yeah, I'll support them for the rest of the career usually, and I'll follow them. Or at the very least, I'll be pleased for them when they do well, even if I don't follow them. You know what I mean? You'll hear that they're doing okay, and you're like, good and pleased. You know what I mean? Because they've been our player, and he's always put the effort in, and that. It's just like we said, he's just not the right fit.
I'm not disputing the fact that he's not the right possible fit for this system, because we don't give him the opportunities to be the fit really. But all the same, even if you want to go as far as to say he's not the right fit, because he's obviously been a fit for another team. That's the reason why we transferred for him. You know. If he's not the right fit for this team, that's a conversation you can possibly start to have. I'm open to hear what player is going to be the right fit for it, because I just told you we had three players that have played this role for us as a striker. 3 players, all 3 players have not necessarily covered themselves in glory the entire year to the point where they get they should be starters the entire year. Not all 3 of them have really. So it is about finding that player possibly that fits Slot's version of it and all. Okay. But what I am saying is there's Pops had a part something's pointed towards you, and I'll bring it up. Pops said to you, JK, he's also probably saying it to me as well. It's about the goals.
But bro, when the bro can't get goals, what does he do? He makes other people get goals. If he can do that.
Exactly.
You get me?
It's about the goal.
For me, it is.
But it isn't about the goal.
It's the main thing.
If it's about the goals, okay, fine, fantastic. But shouldn't that part of the sentence be not necessarily involved, but equated to it's about goal involvement? If you're involved in the goal, that's as good as being a part of the goal. Salah scores, fantastic. Are you going to just say, oh, well, let's just overlook the fact of who gave him the assist?
But, bro, I'm going to tell you one thing quickly. Out of all the goals Darwin Núñez has scored for us, you know which one's my favourite? Just looking back, it was that one against Southampton the other week where he got the equaliser 1-1. Why? Because that was, for me, the John Barnes, Ian Rush days, John Aldridge days, where the winger beat his guy, passed the square ball, and the striker just finished it, not even thinking about it. Bang, he was in the back of the net. What's that goal again, bro? What's the way Darwin finishes that goal? Okay. How many times have our team gave Darwin Núñez that type of ball to score? That was the first time I was there. That's the goal I want my number 9 to score. It was a beautiful goal, bro. Bang. No funny business, no nothing, just bang in the back of the net. And I was like, Diaz, you're doing what I want you to do as a winger. Beating your guy and getting an assist. Simple as, bro. 4 assists from Diaz. I like Diaz.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I like Diaz, but 4 assists in all competitions this season.
Oh, yeah. With the one where he just kind of was like, he gave the quick poke and was able to like slot it home.
Bang.
Yeah.
Top finish.
Where I was going to say, even
Bob should be with us on here.
I was going to say, it's kind of funny because of Southampton. If you want to talk about another goal, the goal that he had against Southampton in the league, I think it was the League Cup game, actually. He doesn't score important goals, by the way, but in the League Cup, when he had the breakaway against the keeper, and he absolutely bagged the goal. Like it was a really well taken goal. It was 1-on-1. I'm sure a lot of people were sitting there. Oh, is he going to hit the post or miss it? And he ended up putting it home. I just what and where I was trying to get across is that goal involvement is very, very important. And if anything, you know what? I wouldn't mind having Darwin on this team. Now, whether he's a starter, that's one thing or another. That's certainly one thing or another. But I don't mind having a player that has shown that he can be an impact sub or player, period, on this team. You need players like that. I don't want to see Elliott go. Elliott's an impact player. Gets on the pitch. He is automatic offense, automatically contributing. Those players are important. If they can be starters, fantastic. But if you look past that part and point, I would like to see a team have players that can provide answers when that starting lineup is not doing so. And quite often we've had to rely on players like Elliott, players like Chiesa, just as of recently, players like Núñez to be called on for rescue.
Yeah, it's been a good impact sub like this season at times, hasn't he? He's useful, like off the bench with his energy and his direct running and that. Mm-hmm. Never more so, obviously, than in the Brentford game.
Mm-hmm. That's just like, do I think that what's the conversation people would often have about Lord Divock? About he doesn't have like
scored important goals.
Yeah.
What he doesn't have, do you mean what they'd say he doesn't have, like in that that thing? Yeah. Why is it for a player that's come up, had big moments, this and that, yada yada? I mean, people who used to question Divock's motivation, they would question about Divock having what kind of character he has, because he doesn't apparently want to be a starter. He's comfortable in his role. Oh shit, that isn't it?
Mr. Steve Nicol, I would say, is one of those people that have said that comment. Why I'm bringing it up.
You say that about like Solskjaer and Sheringham when they were playing second fiddle to York and Cole. You know what I mean? But they were happy enough to win the medals, weren't they? Just like Divock was to be here. Thing with Divock, like, he was only a £10 million signing. He was a really agreeably priced signing, and we got a lot of value out of that. I do remember when Klopp arrived, he said, yeah, I was interested in Origi when I was at Dortmund. He said he was a player I was looking at. He said, so we're going to have some fun together here now at Liverpool. And I was made up when I heard that, to know that, like, a player we already had been under his scrutiny, like, and he liked him. And, you know, he did. He got really good reward out of Divock, like, didn't he? And Divock was happy playing second fiddle. I mean, playing second fiddle to Bobby, Manio and Salah. Bobby, Mane and Salah was it's no disgrace to anybody, is it? Like, to have to play second fiddle, to have to play standing to them three. I mean, that's no reflection on anyone's game, is it? Like, that's not going to prove that you're not a great player or you haven't got the desire just because you can't displace one of them 3 players, because
right.
not many people in the world could have displaced one of them 3 players when they were at their peak.
What if I told you though that you're not going, even if you play well, you're not going to displace them. Even if you've gotten results, even if you've played better than the player that's in front of you, you're still not going to get the opportunity to get a run of games. Those are some of what the comments he was saying, and that reasons why he's like frustrated or why his confidence is going. And he understands he's got some of it's a little bit of luck. You know, sometimes the ball's just not bouncing where it needs to bounce, and it just hasn't, and it gets in his head and likes. But we've spoken about squad depth. This is something I'd like to hear JK comment too. We've spoken about squad depth, and I had a comment back because I remember there was another content creator he had a segment and he was talking. He made this comment about we have no squad depth. That's been shown. You know, we don't have our team is very shallow when it comes to this and comes to that when it comes to the depth. And I'm saying to myself, if we were putting players in and getting a real rotation where we saw 15, 16, maybe even 17 players in some type of rotation in this squad, right? Meaning like being rotated in and out for the ability to rest players, to keep players on target for competitions. Then I could say, yes, we have a good, sample size to say we have no squad depth. Because we've been trying to use these players, and when we've used them, they've failed miserably. Someone might be quick to point out, well, we had Plymouth, and we saw what happened there, and this and that. We also had Plymouth where we had no one on the bench to provide any impact, really, in the squad that had any experience, at least, of doing that. And we also had a Plymouth squad that had players that had not played consistently enough up to that point to have the ability to have some cohesion and confidence to be able to even beat a team like Plymouth, who, albeit on the road, beating any team in England is difficult. Not trying to give them a pass, but what I am trying to emphasize by this take is to have squad depth, you have to utilize your squad. Simple as that. You want to tell me about squad depth? Great. Tell me how many Elliot has had the unfortunate situation of having injuries, but tell me how many times we've utilized Elliot this year. Tell me how many times there's been for myself, maybe JK, certainly Nolante, where we've said, why are we not using Chiesa? Why are we not using this player or that player? Why are we not rotating these players a little bit more so they can have the legs for this final stretch? And whether it happens to a lot of teams or not, I don't care about what happens to other teams. I'm focused on this one team, being Liverpool. If other people don't want to utilize that train of thought or that strategy, have at it. But for our specific concern, I can say probably with confidence that the majority of us have the best interest being placed on this team's performance, and we want to see the performance be exceptional or held to a level that we actually get results from. And that takes rotation, that takes squad depth, that takes having players that have the ability to be difference makers. How many players on this squad do you say, looking at the bench, and you're like, that player, Suppleman, he could be a difference maker? I bet you, I am willing to bet you that Núñez is one of those players on your list. Chiesa, one of those players on my list. Harvey Elliott, one of those players on my list. And you know why I can say that? Because I've seen the sample size when it came to not necessarily all with this coach, certainly, but with the former coach that we had, they've had plenty of opportunities to do so. But if you can say
going
this,
off,
I'd love to hear it. Go ahead, JK or Lee. Either one.
The Darwin topic is an interesting topic. It's the one guy that gets fans upset and like fans arguing within the Liverpool fan base. You either like him or you don't. It's like Marmite, you know. You either love it or you don't. But for me, I don't see the problem with the guy. But for me, where Pops is saying, bless Pops, by the way. Hi, Bernadette, as well. And bless Bob Paddock as well. He's the Darwin Núñez.
I know that's not my burner account, by the way. That's not. That's not my burner.
That job. Bob's taking the job.
Right.
But for me, I think Darwin got that ball from Diaz, and I haven't seen that enough for me this season or in any season since Darwin's been with us. Goals, number 9s have to score goals. It's all about the goals for number 9s. But for me, the guys have to deliver to that number 9 sometimes. Sometimes the number 9 might have to get the ball from outside the box, beat a guy, beat another guy, then slot it in. It might have to do that sometimes, of course. But majority of the game should be the wingers or the number 10 or the midfielders playing through balls, playing little flicks to him. They don't do that enough, bro. Salah did it in the Newcastle game.
Yeah.
I know we've already got that Newcastle game to go on by, but for me, if you play the ball to him in the right time and the right position, the guy's going to score goals, bro.
Right. And that's the difference between Newcastle, even if you want to talk about City, but Newcastle too, the reason why their forwards are able to get the numbers that they do, I think, is because that is an acclimated portion of their game.
Yeah,
they feed their 9.
Yeah.
Tell me this, Mr. and Mrs. bringing up Holland. What's the goal output of City's wingers? Is it even remotely close to Liverpool's?
Nope.
But yet you still want to talk about these apples and oranges.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. That's a good point. And when you measure up like their wide players, and none of the wide players they've had really under Pep have been that prolific. They've all scored goals.
Mahrez was okay.
How many goals did Mahrez have, though? I'm not saying that Mahrez isn't a goal scorer.
Yeah, he wasn't a regular goal scorer, but he had a goal in it.
He was probably the best one for numbers, Mahrez, because he took pens as well.
Yeah.
None of their wide players have been on the level that like Salah's at, or that Mane was at. Mane was such a
Mane. Even Gapco. Yeah, true, Norman. Doku don't get enough for me. For me, Doku, he's another Traore. He's got everything. He's got everything. Very good little player. But the cherry on top of the cake. And that's the problem. With Diaz, he's got everything but the cherry on top of the cake. And for me, the cherry on top of the cake is that Salah Southampton equaliser, the first goal. Just a simple thing. Beat the guy, get into the box, little ball there, bang. That's for me the cherry on top of the cake, bro, for a winger. That's a winger for me. Salah took it to a new dimension. But for me, Doku, he won't get to be a world-class player because he don't do the simple thing at the end of it all.
I mean, if you look at the sheer amount.
What is your one quick point, Lee. Let me just get this too, real quick. People are talking about Isak. What's the goal output for Newcastle when it comes to their wingers? Tell me.
Theirs isn't that high, is it?
Not. That's why I would probably bring up the stat.
And what's his name? Brian's favorite. What's his name, bro? The guy on the right for Newcastle.
Jacob Murphy.
That's the guy. So you got Murphy and you got Gordon. Gordon can pop up with the goal. Not regular goals, but he can pop up with the goal. Murphy, he scores every blue moon. But this season, for me, is probably the best I've ever seen Murphy play anyway. It's ever since Brian said, Murphy's terrible, he's been playing great. Funny.
But yet, I'm being told about how many goals Gordon, you realize he has 6 goals in the Prem this year. 6. Is that more than Cody? No. Is that more than? How about this? Is that more than Lucho?
No.
Oh, that's a no. Oh, but he plays a different position, 12, where he does this. Okay, cool. I got you. Tell me where we're gonna move the goalposts so I can understand what game we're playing. Because Newcastle also has a forward who is a dynamic forward, and you know what they do? They play the ball into him so he can score their goals. That's why he has something like 18 some odd goals or something like that. And there's a dramatic difference between his goals and the next person's goals. Because you know why the next person's goal? It's his 18 goals being Isak's. And then you know who's the second leading goal scorer on their team? It'll be Gordon with 6.
If you look at the Arsenal wingers, they're a little bit more prolific, Saka and Martinelli, in the way that Arsenal go about their business, with Havertz was usually generally the central player, wasn't he? Like when they had everyone to pick from. But Saka and Martinelli do weigh in with more goals. Maybe like what you'd say about Newcastle or City's wingers. Whether that'll hold true when they buy him, whoever they buy, I don't know. It may change then, but they've been fairly prolific, haven't they? Saka and for wingers, they have. Because again, you've got to say, are they wingers anymore? They're more the cross between wingers and forwards. Wingers used to stick to the wing mainly, didn't they? But now they come inside, don't they, on their other foot?
Is that one less goal this season? Is that what you're saying? Oh, maybe he's not talking about the Premier League season. Because Doku has 3 goals this season, and Darwin has 5 goals this season. You're absolutely right. Absolutely.
Say again, 12?
Doku, he's saying that Trudon says Doku has 1 less goal than Núñez this season. He also has 2 less goals in he also has 2 less goals because Pops is acting how that's crazy.
What have you made of Savino for Man City? And do you think that when
he's also, by the way, Doku's also played 300 more minutes
than Darwin,
than Darwin Núñez. Let me repeat that.
Doku's
300 more minutes than Darwin Núñez. And that is when we're talking about bringing up these stats about Doku, and now you're trying to rate him to Núñez. 2 players that play 2 different positions too, by the way. But you brought up the stat. So you are on Pop's asking, so you're on Mr. Locke and his system, the team, not Núñez. You might have to restart this episode, because what I am saying is that Núñez, along with other players as well, have all had the opportunity to show their worth and contributions in our number 9 role. Our coach has tended to show favoritism by allowing Hatta to play, despite the fact that he has not been up to the levels or been creating the output, and sometimes not even the right matchup. He is still gone with Hatta as our number 9. Now, if Núñez had been given the opportunity and he had actually performed poorly and we lost and we still lost, I'd say you've got some firepower to put into your cannon. However, I can still say, with that stat I brought up earlier, that unfortunately Hatta has been the starting number 9 in our losses. Unfortunately, this player, whether it's Diaz or even Hatta, has not been given, or excuse me, Núñez has not really been given the opportunity to get a run. There's a difference in confidence knowing that you can go out there and do your heart, as long as you work hard and you do your best, and you know you might not have scored, but you're going to get the opportunity to go out there and do it again. Hatta has that ability to have that in his mind. But Núñez can't. And Núñez has adjusted this game to meet the parameters of what has created some type of results for us. I have been hoping that if it was going to be the case, if Hatta, I'm going to end here on my rant. Hatta, if he's going to have 3-4 opportunities to start, I am more than wanting him to start or play well, because that means we're going to win. But we haven't, and he's continued to get the nod. I'm just saying, hey, give another person an opportunity to see how it works. Is the result going to be that much different? Because the only difference that it'll be is the only difference it could be is a win. Because we've had the other way that we've gone about it, we've resulted in losses.
Hasn't worked. Yeah.
And then when there have been cases where we've been losing or hasn't worked, guess which player was subbed in to get us a result? Even if it's Diego scoring, even if it's Hatta scoring the goal, we can all be like, oh, well, Hatta scored the goal when he came in and started, or when he came in for the role. Guess who gave him the assist? Núñez. But we just look past that because it doesn't hit our narratives. That's all I'm getting at.
Yeah, it does seem to suggest maybe that he's looking for a different type of player in that 9 position, with him liking Jota and using Diaz as many times as he has in the 9.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe that type of forward, someone like Acuna would fit, maybe. I mean, I'm just guessing that. Who knows what he really desires for that position slot, but I think Acuna could maybe fit the bill well. He's someone, I think he's not like what you call a number 9, is he? But he's a potent forward, and he's a finisher. I think he could be the man for us. A few of us think that, don't we? I'm not bothered about him getting sent. So, okay, that's going to happen, especially with South Americans. It's not just South Americans, mate. It happens with players from all over the place. You can come from anywhere forwards, and be like that. Or players in any position have a bit of red mist. I'm not bothered about that. No, I don't think his disciplinary record would be anything to fear. Because actually, he'd be on the winning side more. You know what I mean? I think out of his frustration.
Wow.
Sometimes
Bob is doing. Big up Bob. Big up Bob.
Bob knows his things.
Bob knows his stuff. He's getting some goal involvements here. That's certainly some goal.
Yeah. That's a good one. That.
Bob's GA is top notch, by the way. Bob's GA is top notch.
Bro, look at them games.
Look at those games.
See, you know what the worrying thing is this. There's fans who don't like Darwin at all. So they're like this. If he starts, I don't want him to score.
Yup. There are those people like that.
You understand my point there, bro?
Yeah.
And for me, Bob pulling them stats up about Jota, that hurts me more than me saying, look, there you go. That's why I'd rather start Darwin. I'm not saying that. I'm actually disappointed in that fact there, right there. So it's not just to do with the guy or whatever, Jota. For me, when I seen Jota start in the PSG game, I wasn't happy. Why? 2 games prior, Darwin stepped in both games and won us them games somehow. So for me, I wanted him to see him in the 3rd game. It didn't happen. It didn't happen in the 4th game. So it hurts me. Jota hasn't really found his feet, bro, this season. He's the only one out of the whole lot. Even Chiesa's done sort of better in games, like in the chances he's got, if you understand my point. Jota's had a lot of game time, and Jota is Slot's first number 9. He's the first go-to guy. First game of the season, Diaz, Jota, Salah. Jota got injured. So it sort of changed with Gapco coming in now for Diaz as well. So a lot of things have gone on up top, bar Salah. Salah's kept it 100% all the time. But for me, Darwin, he's never had that consistency in game time. If Slot played him in that 3rd and 4th game, the PSG home and Newcastle game, we might be here sitting here now looking forward to the Villa game. I'm not saying 100% that's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, we lost that game with starting with Jota. For me, who couldn't find his feet in a long time. And the PSG game at home weren't that game to do that. Or a final, my opinion. Bring him on a sub and change it up a bit. Because it hasn't worked for 3-4 games now we got starting. So you know what? I'm going to switch it up now for this PSG game at home. I'm going to start Darwin. I think Gapco missing was another minus point, and also Trent missing in that final. Very important for the way Salah plays. Trent, Gapco for me was getting on to that ladder of as important as Salah in the team. Then he got injured. We missed him in that week, bro, big time. He would have pulled out something. He scored the other day for Holland, bro. He's in that mindset now to get goals, Gapco. You know? Assists, man. I don't know what Slot does with the wingers, what he says to them. Like, for me, Salah's tried this season to get assists. He's crossing the ball from the outside of his foot. You know what I mean? But why aren't the other guys getting more assists? I just don't understand that.
I think to a certain extent, our attack has been based more around Mo this season than in previous seasons.
Because he's our best guy, bro. Why not?
Yeah. That's what I mean. Slot's come in in the summer, looked at it like pre-season and that, and what he's already knew, has a few games, and he probably thought, this is the best way forward, like, is to have Mo doing less legwork coming back and keep him further forward, so we can spring, because the amount of times we spring on teams, like by just lacing the ball out to the wing to Mo, it's just it's unreal, isn't it? Like how we can just spring like that quickly with the right ball. But we can do it on both sides of the pitch. We can do it on the other side as well, like. But yeah, his role has been a little bit different this season under Slot, hasn't it? Like, and we have relied on him. I don't think maybe Slot intended it to be that way, that we rely on him so much. Maybe hope that the others would chip in a bit more, but Salah's took up the slack, hasn't he? So, yeah.
I think also. Oh, sorry.
We just got to get the balance right. We just got to get the balance with the 3 right, because since the Bobby, Mane and Salah thing has split up, we haven't got it right since, have we? Like that.
No, we haven't. We haven't. You're right. I agree with that. And it's also, a situation where, because we play with a different system too, with a 4-2-3-1 now, more so than not. I know it can be sometimes a 4-2-4. It could be sometimes, or it can sometimes even be like a 4-3-3 on occasion. But you're right. It's a different system, and it's a matter of getting that balance to figure out how to get the production from our number 9 to be able to provide for our wingers / inside forwards more so than not, and also how to get our number 10 involved more in scoring or facilitating more assists and passes and the likes. And I think that's very important as well, because even when you go, again, it is, yes, we are. And again, Pops is, I know Pops does his research too, or at least he's a patron and a professor in the game. But what it was that was very, very much of a head scratcher, at least, or at least somewhat of an eye opener, is the comments that he made about why, and we can all reflect back why some of these players are not getting opportunities. Because there's a large cry about why Chiesa wasn't getting opportunities, and why Elliott's not getting opportunities, and why possibly even like myself, why Núñez isn't getting starts, much less he is getting some opportunities, but why he's not getting the ability to really make the number 9 role his own. And you could go as far as to say, one, we didn't have a preseason. We didn't have a preseason with these players for this coach to evaluate who he was going to have as those starters. So he went with whatever he went with to go and choose Hata, who did, I think, get in. He did join the team. I think he joined the preseason early because of Portugal getting knocked out. So he joined preseason early. But obviously the other players like your Núñez's and your Diaz's and stuff like that, they didn't join preseason.
I take his Jota's with Portugal now. Has he gone away on international duty, Jota?
Most likely.
He normally gets picked, doesn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Oh, he's star, but he normally gets picked, doesn't he?
Yeah. Why I'm bringing that up, though, is because, the coach made a very interesting comment in a press conference about, because he got asked about why Chiesa wasn't starting, or why and how Chiesa is not being more involved. Not necessarily why he's not starting, but why he's not being more involved. And he spoke about the fact of how the training schedules go. And again, this is why I'm pointing this out for Pops, because something I would like for him to have in his locker. And that is, the coach has come out and said that there's a certain procedure when it comes to our team in training. There's a starters that train, but they train separately than the other players do. And especially when it's the game, when there's a game, those players that played get a rest day, rightfully so. But that doesn't mean that the players that didn't play don't get a rest day. They're out there training. And there's the involvement of starters and fringe players being able to do these 11v11s where you get to fight for your position. You get the B team gets to take on the A team, right? And you get to kind of show and prove. That's how, at least in our minds, how we would go about it, right? I know when if you're training or we're in practice, how do you get into the starting lineup? In training or in practice, you step it up. You show that you're better than the player that you're going up against. And Slot says those opportunities aren't a part of his training sessions. That's his words, not mine. So the pathway to getting into the starting lineup is not really defined as a real pathway towards getting into the lineup, other than you have something that coach wants in the lineup. And I'm going to emphasize this more so than not for why I'm bringing up a lot of these parts and points, is because in that PSG game, for instance, as an example, I think all of us said that we got outplayed by PSG in Paris. There are notable parts and points of the game that we got outplayed. There are parts and points of certain individual players that we saw mismatches against that we said should probably be differential to our next game against them. And our coach said, no, I'm going to stick to my britches and go with the exact same lineup that produced a shockingly poor game for us, rather than address the fact of bring in this player or that player. Maybe go with the lineup that we went with. And this is not even saying that Núñez had to start. We could have went with a lineup that had the lineup that we went up against City. He was bold and courageous to make it that time. But yet when push came to shove, he didn't make that when we had to face PSG again at Anfield this time. So when I am saying I'm being critical of our coach, yes, Mr. Football Romantic, Mr. for some people, Top Red, I'm being critical of players and our coach when it's, in my opinion or my perspective, relevant.
That's what
and
we
I
do.
think that our
Fans,
coach,
isn't it?
Go ahead.
That's what we do as fans. I mean, it's the first time really that we've been disappointed under Slot, like, isn't it? Because he's exceeded all expectations.
He exceeded all expectations.
If you said to me at the beginning of the season, would you accept being knocked out the Champions League and losing a cup final in the same week if it meant you won the league title, but you won the league title anyway? I'd be like, oh yes.
Yeah.
If somebody said that,
most people would be accepting of it.
Yeah. So it's exceeded everyone's expectations. None of us expected this, but obviously the last two games, it's been a bit of a blow for people. And that took it quite well because God, next season's not far away, mate. We're going to get another shot at it soon, at these two trophies that we missed out on last week. So that'll come round soon enough. I'm just happy about the league, like most Liverpool fans. It's been a long time to get this 20. It's been dangled in front of us a few times, like since we got on to 19. But we haven't managed to make it. And obviously with Man United being our hated, I was going to say, well, yeah, they are the local rivals, more or less a derby, Manchester and Liverpool, like, because the two cities are so close. There's only the East Lancs Road between us. In American terms, the size of America, like the distance between Liverpool and Manchester, look at all, like. So yeah.
How many miles is it?
Manchester,
20?
20, yeah. I think it's 20 miles.
Okay.
About 25, 26 kilometers.
About distance from my house to center of Phoenix, basically.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, because there are such hated rivals and they are a local rival, like, it means a lot to be able to get onto that 20, and especially why Alex Ferguson's still alive and breathing. And I hope he goes on for a lot longer, like, and sees us win 21 and 22 and a 7th Champions League, you know what I mean? He can go on forever. He can live as long as Methuselah, as far as I care, like, you know what I mean? He'll still be alive in 1,000 years' time, and I'd be happy with that if I was still here, as long as we're out, outstripping them for trophies and that, like.
No one's talking about Manchester. I've never been to Manchester. I've been to Liverpool loads of times. I went to the Trafford Shopping Centre once.
Yeah.
It's just on the outskirts of Manchester itself. And then what happened? I met Jimmy Corkill's daughter. He played Jimmy Corkill's daughter.
Oh, yeah.
Outside. I met her there, bro.
Yeah.
What was her name, bro?
Claire Sweeney.
That's the one. Yeah, I met her. She was with her mum, I think.
Yeah.
But she was cool. Yeah, man, it's mad, eh?
Oh, I like Manchester. I've always liked it. Since I started going there, I started going there clubbing when I was in my late teens. We'd go in a van because we had a club around here, but like we wanted to go on, other places in the country. Occasionally, we used to go to Manchester. That was good then in the early 90s. Manchester, mad for it. But yeah, and I used to mainly get on with Manchester I met when I was out, because you talk to people when you were out. I meet a few that were dickheads, like, but that's part of the course. More dickheads than met in Liverpool, like. in town.
Bless KJ.
Manchester,
I hate you.
Yeah, I've got good memories of it as a city. Like I've met some all right Mancs in other places that I've always tended to get on with. It tends to be Man United fans from the south that I don't get on with. They tend to be the biggest dickheads because they're the ones that go on about Scousers the most. Like it's like this badge of honour for them, must hate Scousers, but they don't really understand what it's like in the north. You know what I mean? That Mancs and Scousers do generally get on.
Mm-hmm. All right. I just realized that it's
Bernadette told us
I know.
get an interview.
Away from football, they do. Away from football, they do. Let's put it that way. If you take football out the equation, Mancs and Scousers usually get on.
Let me give you this. I did say that I had something actually kind of for some fun, maybe for others not so much. But I just realized that we're at 2 hours and 15 minutes. Oh, wow, how quickly the time flies when you're having fun.
Talking about Darwin.
Yeah, talking about Darwin. Always fun
That's what
times,
happens, bro.
Always
when
fun times. Let me tell you.
When the conversation's deep, the time flies by, man. Yeah.
All right. So. We're gonna go. We'll do since he's wearing the captain's armband, we'll make it and since you got the Darwin avatar, we'll do Lee and JK versus the chat. We'll do that. All right.
Okay.
I have some questions here, some trivia questions.
Ooh.
They can be multiple choice if you guys want, but I mean or I'll give them but I have multiple choice, but I'm not gonna give you the multiple choice. What I'll do is, if you need multiple choice, I'll make it half a point or something like that, or
do 2 points for an answer if it's right, and then 1 if it's the clues there.
Okay, got you.
That's cool. Come on, Lee.
All right, you ready?
Let's go. Who's going first? This guys or them?
You call it. Where do you want to do?
I don't mind the chat going first. Lee?
Okay. I was going to say, you call in the air. What is it? Heads or tails?
Heads.
Okay. All right. You're going first because it's tails.
There you go.
All right. This is it was good that you get it first. Which match saw Darwin Núñez score twice, including a dramatic 93rd minute winner, showcasing his clutch ability?
Lee, Newcastle, isn't it?
What was the game? Which match saw Darwin Núñez score twice, including a dramatic 93rd minute winner?
Yeah, the Newcastle game.
Clutch ability.
Are you happy with that, Newcastle, Lee?
Brentford won it this season.
Or Brentford. Or
this season.
No looking at the chat too, by the way. No looking at the chat.
You're talking about this season?
You want? Yeah. And I can give you. I can give you.
He scored a double, yeah.
Yeah, it was Brentford, won it. He scored 2 late goals, scored 1, and then another one very quickly within 75 seconds. He scored the winner, hadn't he? Got us equal and then got the win. No, hang on, 2-0. Yeah, we were drawing 0-0, and he got 2, didn't he, to make it 2-0? So Brentford.
Yeah. Newcastle as well. He's got 2 goals, hasn't he?
Yeah, that was last season, wasn't it?
Oh, he's talking about this season.
I don't know.
It's not a specific season.
Something tricky's going on here.
No specific season. Yeah.
This season, yeah?
Yeah, go for the Brentford one. Go for this season.
Go for Brentford.
Oh, man. You guys let me down. Newcastle United. Newcastle. Because there was 2-0. We won 2-0 against them. But Newcastle is where he came in and scored those 2 late goals.
Yeah.
All right. I thought that would have been.
To be honest, I don't think I was listening properly at the beginning. I wasn't sure if it had known that 2-1, then it probably was a guess to Newcastle. Yeah, I was thinking Brentford, but that was 2-0.
Yeah, I thought that would have been that was like a layup. I thought.
I think the attention flitted away a minute.
We were talking about this earlier on in the show as well.
Yeah. All right, this one's for the chat then. Here we go. Since the start of the 2023-24 season, how many goals has Núñez scored after the 80th minute, putting him in elite company? How many goals has Núñez scored after the 80th minute in the 2023-2020 since the start of 2023-2024? How many goals has Núñez scored after the 80th minute, putting him in elite company?
Is there a time limit on this for them?
I'm gonna go with I'll give it a little bit of time because we got to keep it. I'm not trying to go 3 hours in on a Núñez episode. I'll go with Norm's answer of 6. It would be 5. It would be 5. 6 is the record currently, but 5 is the number. 80th minute, by the way, is what it is. I can tell you there is. Hold on, I can tell you who the. Let me see if I can find my notes for it. There is a list of those people on the list. Is actually pretty incredible. The people that are on the list. I'll give you a chance to. Mohamed Salah was one of the players that has more. He has 6. There was one other player. I don't think we got the other player. I don't think. Still haven't gotten the other player named. Can you name the other player that has one more goal than Darwin Núñez? Mohamed Salah is one of them. Who's the other player?
And is this for me and Lee?
This is for you and Lee, and then if you can't get it, I'll let the chat get it. Get the question.
In the whole league, which played in the whole league's got one more in injury time.
In 80th minute or more. In the 80th minute.
Chris Wood? You reckon Chris Wood?
So what you want to go with?
Bro.
This is a question of some of these questions are whether you guys were tuning me out on some of my rants or not, because I gave some of the answers away.
Yeah. Haaland or Chris Woods, I would say.
All right.
Yeah,
what's your answer?
Go with Chris Wood.
Chris Wood. All right. That would be incorrect. I'll see one last chance because I already gave the chat a chance to answer this one, but I'll give him a chance to answer. Does anyone in the chat know? We'll see if they do. Let me give you like 30 seconds to get this one. We'll see. We'll see.
I'll have one more guess after the time's out.
All right.
I think I know who it is.
All right, I'm gonna need an answer because we're coming down to 10 seconds left. What is the question? There's been only 2 players that have scored more goals. There's been only 2 players that have scored more goals since the 80th minute than Darwin Núñez. One of them was Mohamed Salah. Red Armchair Supporter got that earlier in the show. Who is the other player?
Is it Cunha?
Not for us, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Lee's in the chat now.
Yeah.
Lee's on the chat team. I'm with Lone Soldier.
I know. Final answer, Norm? Is that your final answer? Everyone good with that one, I think, in the chat? I'll give you guys a point. It would be Haaland. Only Salah and Haaland have more goals.
I was going to go with Haaland, bro. I knew it.
Yeah, you said Haaland or Wood, didn't you?
Yeah.
Sure,
I know when you said Wood or Haaland, I was like, oh, he might get it. And then he's wearing the armband. It's tough. It's tough when you're wearing the armband.
Come on, Lee. Let's get it back now.
All right.
What's the score then? 1 point to them, yeah?
I gave him a point for that. That was
1-0 up now, bro.
Yeah, 1-0 up. 1-0 up. All right.
That was their question as well. Yeah.
Okay. Which record did Núñez break by scoring a 99th minute goal against Nottingham Forest, making it the latest Premier League winning goal for Liverpool since records began?
So just say it one more time from the beginning.
Yeah, I just gave. Yeah. I'll give you another question.
This is for the chat, Lee. This one.
No. I'll give you another question. Because I gave the answer in the question. During the 2023-2024 season, which impressive milestone did Núñez achieve in an EFL Cup semifinal against Fulham? This one's kind of a two-parter, but I only have the answer I have is only one part. What did he do? I'll give you some. Let me give you some multiple choice for that one. How about that? Is that one okay? So, did he become Liverpool's top assist maker? Did he B, scoring a hat trick? Score his first hat trick. C, saving a penalty as an emergency, off the line style save. Or was it breaking the Premier League goal record for a second-year goal scorer or second-year player? A, B, C, or D? This is for you guys. You two.
Oh, I thought it was for them guys because they took our last one, no?
Oh, no. That was an extra one. I think this is for you. They got the point.
I think it's for them, bro.
Oh, it's for them? They're going A?
It's for them. Okay. Yeah, it's for them.
That would be correct. When he assisted in the Fulham game, he became the top assist the player with the most assists on our team in that Fulham game. That was a major mark. All right, how about this then? All right, for you guys.
Reading it up now. Okay.
Yeah.
No, 2-0 because you gave them the options. Yeah.
What impact has Darwin Núñez had on Mohamed Salah's performance when playing together? Was it A, is improved goal involvement by 15%, B, decreased assists by 20%, C, increased defensive clearances, or D, reduced chances created per game? This is a team chemistry question.
I'm going A, Lee.
Yeah, just say the options again, what they are.
Okay. What impact has Darwin Núñez had on Mohamed Salah's performances when playing together? Was it A, he's improved goal involvement by 15%, B, decreased assists by 20%, C, increased defensive clearances, or D, reduced chances created per game?
Oh, it's got to be A, hasn't it? It must be A.
All right. You would be correct. It would be A.
Thank you.
When Mohamed Salah plays with Darwin Núñez, goal involvement is increased by 15%. But then again, he doesn't do anything. I just can't stop. I can't stop. I'm playing with you guys. All right.
But your eye tells you that anyway. Your eyes, when you watch the game.
Yeah,
when Trent and Darwin are playing, Salah looks even better for me.
All right. This is for the chat. How many times did Darwin Núñez hit the woodwork in a single Premier League season, setting a record since 2003?
At least he's setting records.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
I know. He's got no dirt on me. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. How many times has he hit the woodwork in a single Premier League season, setting a record since 2003. This is a record that's held since 2003. I'll give you. Okay, well, you guys got it right. Yep, it would be 7.
7, yeah.
Okay.
It would be 7. Yeah, remember, if you don't know it, then you can always say, "Give me multiple choice." Okay, so, but this one I'm gonna have to give you multiple choice because it's the way the questions asked. What statistic shows that Núñez is more than just a goal scorer, highlighting his playmaking ability during the 2023-24 season? Is it 13 assists across all competitions? B, he has the most aerial duels won. C, highest defensive recoveries by a forward. Or D, most nutmegs completed.
Either A or C, I think.
This one, 13 assists across all comps in it for last season.
That would be correct.
Let's go with that, bro.
Yeah, that would be correct. A it is.
Nicely.
Well done. Still only a point behind, too, by the way. Doing well.
And you know what? Quickly, I want to tell you something. The PSG goalie is getting beaten by Germany 3-0 in the first half. And one was a penalty, bro. He let it in. Yeah. Why can you do that against Liverpool?
Okay. I'll ask this because I did give away one more questions, but it's all cool. I can ask this one. Which 2 Premier League legends also took time to adapt to the league? No, I'm not going to ask that one. Because that's going to trigger someone. I'm not going to ask.
Go on, do it.
I'm not asking that question. No, I'm not.
Come on, man.
I know what they're going to do. Which 2 Premier League legends also took time to adapt to the league, just like Darwin Núñez, highlighting the importance of patience and supporting for new players? Was it A, Drogba and Henry, B, Shearer and Rooney, C, Torres and Suarez, or D, Van Nistelrooy and Van Persie?
Is this for the chat, yeah?
I think this one is for the chat.
Yeah, this is the chat, yeah.
All right. You guys, the chat is doing well. Yes, the chat is doing well. It would be Henry and Drogba. A.
I would have gone Drogba, yeah.
Okay, so which unique skill of Darwin Núñez consistently opens up space for Mohamed Salah and other forwards, making him an invaluable asset to Liverpool's attack? Is it A, aggressive runs and movement, B, long-range shooting, C, dribbling and flair, or D, his defensive positioning? This one's a tough one to answer.
I would say A, again.
All right. You would be correct in my assessment. All right.
The heat is on.
The heat is on. Heat is on. Which game? This one's for the chat. Which game marked Darwin Núñez's first title win with Liverpool after scoring his debut goal? Which trophy? It says title, but it means trophy. Which game marked Darwin Núñez's first trophy with Liverpool after scoring his debut goal? This is for the chat. Yes, it would be the Community Shield. Something that one of those awards that is coveted by Arteta as being a major accomplishment.
But I like it.
And
I like it because
for them, isn't it?
That's what when he talks about his achievements, he talks about the FA Cup and his 2 Community Shields.
Oh.
He talks about them in interviews, which is kind of crazy.
But bro, when we played Man City at the Leicester Stadium a few years ago, I wanted to win that game. You know, so for me, it's an important game. It don't mean as much, but it's an important game. If it's the big 2, if there's 2 big teams playing, Man City, Liverpool, you're not getting bigger than that. So for me, Yeah.
All right, this one's my last question. This is you can either get it. I'm not going to give multiple choice. I'm going to say this one is for the chat. You either get it, or I'm going to allow for the team here to steal the answer. So this is the final question. During which match did Darwin Núñez reach the milestone of scoring his 100th senior career goal? That includes, obviously, with Portugal or his Portuguese time and the likes. So during which match did Darwin Núñez reach the milestone of scoring his 100th senior career goal? In which game was it?
Do we have a multiple choice?
There can be, but I wasn't going to give one. I think you guys get it. I'll let it go because it's an opportunity. I'll give you full points to steal, and it's for us. That senior level is for us. Which game? Which Liverpool game?
Don't.
No, this is for the chat. It's for the chat.
No, it's for the chat. Okay.
It's 12 Super Cup. Yeah, I know, Pops. It's also Arteta's Super Cup, by the way. They got it. They got the right answer. Norm got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Brentford. Okay.
Guess Brentford. He scored his 100th senior career goal against Brentford.
Much.
Right. Yuppers. Oh, wow. So they got that one right. Chat, undefeated as always. Well done, though. Well performed. You guys really didn't do poorly at all. To be honest with you.
There's two of us. And Lee's
just the two of us. Yeah. You'll make it every time. You'll make it every time. Yeah. I think that's all the questions I had.
So nice one, bro. Good.
All the same. Look, whether you love the player, whether you hate the player, whether you think he's a good player, whether you think he's a poor player, look, I'll tell you this. He's our player. So when it comes to a lot of the situations, yes, I do sometimes go to bat for our players when it comes to some of the upheaval,
outrageous stuff you hear.
Yeah, I will be that person sometimes.
Yeah, there has to be a bit of kickback sometimes, doesn't there?
Yeah. So I get it. This episode is not about Player FC. It's about obviously Liverpool FC. It's about making a real team effort in getting us over there. But look, you know what? Until he's not wearing that red kit, as far as I'm concerned, he's a red, and I'm going to support him, and I'm going to wish the best from his performances and hope that they can power us to victories and wins. I can't say that's the same for all people. Not saying any of the people in the chat, not saying any people on the panel, but I can say, it is something of an undercurrent amongst fans today that they sometimes will root against their own players performing well, rather than just acknowledge the fact that that player plays for us. As long as he's all about the badge, then what's the harm in trying to just support the player? You don't have to call him. You don't have to attack him on social media. Go at his family. Go at his do things that are just completely out of bounds. Call him disgusting names sometimes. That are just things that you would never say to the player to their face, much less, should you even be saying it in the company of others that do care and appreciate the performances of our players. So if that matters,
it's the old Liverpool way, bro.
Yeah.
Like, no one can tell you, Dara. The old Liverpool way is you respect the players.
Yeah. And I think it goes, I just think that what and where I'm at with a lot of the maybe some of the defense league situations that I have going on for this player and other players that I do make defenses for. He's not the only player that I do this for. I do it for a good number of players. And that is because the same thing about Norm is saying at the match, the players support the player. They want to see the effort, whether it's just me, maybe I'm doing the secret, kind of thing where I'm trying to tell the universe, hey, I believe in this player, bring good things to this player, bring good things to our team so he can help our team do well. That's how I look at it. So I really do think, though, it's a matter of we got 5 games before we can start resting easy. You don't have to worry about the whole is this team going to bottle it, or this player is not good enough, or that player is not good enough?
Bro, half the team was sold 4 months ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, bro? Like I was hearing this guy's going here, this guy Endo's going into Milan. We're getting this guy next year, Isaac. And I'm thinking, we've got 2 games against this brother. He's going to score against us, man. You want him? Oh, my days. Yeah, but after half the squad was already done. Get rid of him, get rid of him. And for me, it's about time. When the season finishes, you can say what you want about the players. Get rid of this, get rid of that. But let the season finish. We've got important games to win, bro.
I'm hoping for Darwin's sake that this running we've got to the title now at the end of the season, he can get a good amount of minutes and a good send-off, you know what I mean? Because the fans will be wanting to see him in this run into the title. I'm hoping that because the pressure's off a little bit, he will get the nod in a few games. It'd be nice for him to, say, get the nod in the home game against Arsenal or the away game against Chelsea. Wouldn't it? And all the games. I want to see him in other games too. But we've come to that stage now where, we're not. He probably will carry on with Jota now and Slot. He seems to prefer Jota, but I've sort of given up on wanting Jota to start now and would like to maybe see Darwin against Everton. I don't see why not.
Good luck.
True.
I was going to say also, by the way, you're asking about Hatta. Cristiano Ronaldo starting today for Portugal. Go figure, the player. Cristiano Ronaldo is also having somewhat of a stinker of a game so far. And he's also a player that stepped up. Cristiano Ronaldo. Let me say this. Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the best players of all time. Ballon d'Or winner. Stepped up today.
A mix.
Penalty kick. Save.
So Rico Suave has a pen save, did he? Rico Suave.
Yep. Yep. So it happens to the best of them. I don't think anyone's ever going to say that Cristiano Ronaldo has a lack of confidence ever.
If only.
Yeah.
It'd make you a more interesting person.
I'll be honest with you. Look, Portugal was, I thought they were they could have been considered a favorite going into that Euros. I was confident to say that they did not go deep into the competition because they chose to put Ronaldo as their starter instead of having Hatta as their starter. I really do believe that.
And they've got Roberto Martinez as manager, bro. So what did he do for Belgium? In their prime?
Is that who's? I thought it was. Is Ronaldo not the?
No, it's Roberto, bro.
The way that Ronaldo gets his starts, I thought Ronaldo was the coach.
Well, yeah, it's like that a bit with Ronaldo. He likes to have a say, doesn't he, on things and that. But he's just not likable for me, and I couldn't really concentrate on what he was like as a player. I just found him dislikable. I don't know why. It was just his face more than anything. Like I just didn't like him from the start. Yeah. He probably wouldn't like mine. You know what I mean? If he met me, like him, the look of him.
There you go.
The KJ's a Ronaldo guy.
I know. I saw that too. I saw that. He disagrees. He thinks that it was he's a good manager. Still get the best out of that amazing Portugal squad, even with CR7 starting. I guess you could say that. I don't think that Martinez is a bad manager. He's had performance. He's had some good performance.
Yeah, for a Southampton or someone, yeah.
Yeah.
No, he was the last. Well, he wasn't.
I think it's difficult though.
But that was the last decent Everton side I saw was Martinez's one that finished sixth when we nearly won the league in 13-14. They finished sixth, went into Europe, and it was a decent side under Martinez. Yeah. He's not a bad manager.
I think he's a bad manager.
Yeah, but that shouldn't get you the Belgium job and the Portugal job, bro. Simple as.
Probably not. He's coached now 2 top-tier teams, 2 top-tier national teams, definitely. But I will say this, more so with the Portugal team than maybe with the Belgium team. There are certainly some egos on this Portugal team.
Yep. Yeah. Majority of the team, bro.
Yeah.
Imagine
having a squad where you have Bruno and CR7 looking at you like, shh, my name better be on that.
You even mentioned Bernardo. Yeah. You even mentioned Bernardo, bro. He's the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that really annoyed me with Ronaldo is when he got Rooney sent off in the Euros that time. And was it 2006 or 2004? 2006 it was, the Euros. I think. Yeah, 2006. I think. Anyway, do you remember he was playing for Portugal and Rooney was playing for England, and there was like a thing, and he got Rooney sent off, and then he winked at the camera as Rooney was getting sent off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was
but do you ever hear a story?
Funny. In a way, it was funny, but it was annoying at the time because I wanted England to win.
By the way, it's 1-1. It is 1-1 too, by the way. In the Portugal-Spain game, or excuse me, Portugal.
Holland, Spain.
I mean, Spain, Holland, yeah. It's 1-1. And both of those goals.
Gakpo?
No, Dupay.
Clivert.
Who? Dupay.
Okay.
Memphis Depay.
Oh yeah, Depay. Yeah.
Depay.
Yeah, he plays in Brazil now, I think.
Yeah, but he scored he stepped up and he was two goals off of penalties in that game, by the way.
Mm-hmm. And Maradona's my favorite player, Norman. I think he's the greatest ever.
He was very different.
Maradona.
There's been other small players who had good ball control, but his ball control was just ridiculous, wasn't it, Maradona? It was something else.
He was something else, bro.
Amazing. That's an amazing player.
Who's your favorite of all time? Not your favorite. Okay, 2 favorite, and who you think is the greatest?
I like Pele the most as the greatest player. I think all round. All round. Pele was the greatest player.
I think I had a different answer before, but I think probably Pele.
The
player I liked the most probably was like Valderrama, or maybe even Valderrama, or maybe Ruud Gullit.
Yeah, I really liked Gullit and Van Basten. I was big time into Ruud Gullit when because he was exotic rude, like, you know what I mean? Because he had his dreads.
Yeah, exactly.
He had long dreads.
Yeah,
And he was
exactly.
something else visually, like, and he just happened to be the best player in the world as well at the time, you know, give or take, whatever. And yeah, I was big time into him in like 87, 88. It was everything was Ruud Gullit for a bit. Only in my mind, you know, I didn't go around talking about him, but in my head, I was always thinking about Ruud Gullit, the best player. And it was when we got banned from Europe, like, obviously, and we weren't allowed to compete. So I'd still be looking at the European competitions, like, and but Van Basten was outrageous at that time. Van Basten, Gullit. I mean, I like Rijkaard as well. Rijkaard was dead good, but like not in an eye-catching way, which is not what you'd expect from a DM anyway. You don't expect him to be eye-catching in the same way. But yeah, Gullit had something different. He had a bit of joie de vivre, like, and that bit of swagger. Played in the reggae band, which made me laugh. I buzzed off that. His reggae band was called Revelation Time. I just seen still of him on the stage singing. I was like, those, like, you know what I mean? He's got a band as well, like. And then when he comes to England, he was dead nice about Liverpool, like. You know, he said it's a place I wanted to play. You know, want to play against Liverpool, want to play at Anfield. We're like, cheers, Ruud. You're my man.
I do have a tendency to like the other. I used to like Henrik Larsson. I don't know if you remember him or not.
From Sweden. Yeah.
I liked him too.
Yeah.
You can kind of see a pattern. But
yeah,
it's all good. It's all good.
Guys with weird wild hair.
Yeah, wild hair. Wild hair.
That's what it is.
I was Valderrama had some wild hair too.
Valderrama was a mad one, wasn't it?
Yeah, the big afro.
He was very striking looking, wasn't he, Valderrama? But he was a brilliant player, like, he's a wonderful player. I remember being a bit disappointed though with him in that World Cup. It wasn't so much him; it was just the Colombia team wasn't that good.
Oh yeah.
Before the World Cup started, we were all talking about him, and it could potentially be.
That was their golden era. That was their golden era of football.
Yeah. They were saying, you know, he could be the player of the tournament, and was just waiting to see it. Like, and you know, he still looked good in that, but Colombia didn't have a good tournament. But yeah, it's funny. Remember, I said there used to be a programme shop by Anfield, and I remember finding an old England-Holland programme. And Ruud Gullit was in the Holland team as a 16-year-old. Well, he wasn't in the team, he was in the squad, he was on the bench. But he had a programme shop with old programmes right by the ground in Anfield on Breck Road. And I remember, like, I always used to go nosing in there when I was a kid to find out any stuff and that, like. But yeah, they did have quite a Ruud Gullit thing for a while.
Yeah,
to be fair, and Van Basten too, both of them.
Yeah, there was a player that played for. I think he played with Valderrama too. Early on, because Valderrama played in the MLS in the early state it was the latter parts of his career, but it was certainly he still had, you know, phenomenal talent. You know, class is permanent. And he played for Tampa Bay Mutiny. They were called back in the day. I don't even know Tampa Bay. I don't think Tampa Bay has a team in MLS anymore. But but Tampa Bay was good, and they had a player named Roy Lassiter. I liked Roy Lassiter. I thought he was a good player. Not an all-time great, but definitely a player.
There's loads. Take your eye over the years, isn't there? Remember, I'll tell you, it was brilliant before he got his bad injury, Radamel Falcao. Remember, he ended up United, but before that, Falcao, he was just like insanely good, wasn't he? That injury ruined him, like, didn't it? He was done after that injury, but he was an excellent player, excellent forward. Radamel Falcao.
Yeah. There's also what was the other guy's name? This guy was apparently an all-time great goal scorer.
Oh yeah.
I'm playing with you, Jan. Playing with you. You'll probably, if you do ever come across this, now that your name's been mentioned, maybe an algorithm pulls it up for you to be called on. Jan was one of the people on ESPN FC that was taking pot shots against some really, really low blows against Núñez with some of his takes. And he was talking about how he was a dynamic goal scorer for what was the team he played for again?
Swindon.
Swindon Town, yeah.
Swindon, yeah.
Swindon Town, and then he's talking about what was the other one he played for?
Middlesbrough.
Yep.
Middlesbrough, I think, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. But his prolific years were with in Austria, the dynamic league, the Austrian dynamic league of Austria. When he played for the Rovers, I think, or what was the name of the teams? I remember saying it to you guys. What's the name of the stupid team? Now I'm gonna have to look him up. Hold on, let me look him up. He played for. What's the name of the stupid team he played for? Yeah, most of us didn't get to see some of these players play. If it wasn't for YouTube, a lot of these players would still be, huh? Yeah. He played for Rapid Vienna. Rapid Vienna, the Austrian juggernauts of Rapid Vienna was where he displayed his goal creation and talents to be able to say that Darwin Núñez is not a good player, much less goal scorer. So big up.
I love Dara's comment. Fowler never played basketball while playing football.
Yeah, that's true.
Regarding Maradona, like Norman's favorite, greatest.
Neither is Henri was that too. Didn't Henri have like a controversial handball? Didn't he? Do you guys remember that? No,
I'm not sure.
If Brian was on I think it was against Ireland. That's why. Let me double check. Am I right or wrong? Maybe the chat can help me out. It's against Ireland, right? Yeah. Let me see which one it was. Because that's why I think that was the reason why he was really mad about it. In 2009, during a World Cup qualifying playoff match between France and Ireland, Henri committed a handball that led to a controversial free kick and ultimately helped France qualify for the World Cup, causing a significant uproar and lasting controversy.
That's right. Now you mention it, now you say it like what it was. Yeah, I remember it now. Yeah, there was a handball thing, wasn't there? It didn't go down well.
Yeah. Oh, it was not. Yeah, Ireland was not happy about that because it knocked Ireland out, I believe, of the World Cup, because it was a playoff between France and Ireland. Playoff. Well, fun facts. Are these some of the players that Norm likes? Are these some of the players? Beckenbauer was an amazing player, yeah. I probably would have wanted Pele. Growing up, even though I didn't watch Pele play in, competitive, I've seen games of him playing, not live, obviously, but I've seen games because I have watched some of his New York City Cosmos games and stuff. But I think it was you guys have a different name for it over in England. It's called Victory here in America, but the movie.
Oh, Escape to Victory.
Escape to Victory. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I love Escape to Victory. I've watched that so many times over the years.
It's a great movie. Movie.
Even apart from the football, the rest of it's brilliant. Poor old Donald Pleasance going blind. He's got to make the passport in Donald that cupboard, and he goes blind only from doing it. And they try and get him out in the plane. It's James from the Rockford Files. James Garner. Yeah, James Garner from the Rockford Files. He tries to fly the blind Donald Pleasance out of Germany.
I think it was Keith. No, was it Sutherland was in that game? Or in that movie? Was it Sutherland? He was like he was the one that organized the game. Right?
Oh, that was Michael Caine.
Michael Caine was the guy that was for the Alliance or for
yeah.
But I meant like there was a actual German. He played a German officer who organized the game to even happen.
Oh yeah. I'm not sure if it was Donald Sutherland.
Was it Donald Sutherland?
No.
Who was that?
I can't remember, but yeah, John Walk was in it. John Walk's in it. Russell Osman. Loads of Ozzy Ardiles, Pele. There's a few. There's quite a few, like in it. Kazimierz Dana, the Hungarian player Dana. Kazimierz Dana was in it. Yeah, Stallone as the goalie.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, it's a good feel good film. The fake applause and that, like for the Nazi team and that, like when he play, oh, the ones of applause, the crowds are going mad and nobody's made a sound.
Wow. I did not know this. I'm looking up, trying to find out who it was. But did you know that they're going to do a remake of that?
Escape to Victory, yeah.
Yeah, they're about there in 2014. It was announced that they were in talks to make a remake, and then in 2019 it was announced that they were in talks to make it actually happen. It never did though. Very interesting.
It'd be hard to do the cast. You know, it was such a great cast for the. What I'd imagine they'd do in a remake is rely more on the footballers or something, because the cast just aren't as good as the old actors they had.
There were some actual football players in that too. They're like actual football players.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I got that wrong.
Oh, you know what? You know, I'm thinking. You know, it's not Sutherland. It's not Sutherland, but he is a big name. He is a big name. His name is Max von Sydow.
Max von Sydow, yeah, the Swedish actor.
Yeah, wow, yeah. Nice call. Look at that, Mr. Siskel and Ebert. Okay, nice one.
In the Seventh Seal as well. The what's the name? What's his name? Bergman film, the Ingmar Bergman film.
Yeah, he was a big time actor. I'm trying to think of
he's playing chess against death, isn't he, Max von Sydow in the Seventh Seal. I like that film. It's a good one.
Yeah, he played in some big movies. Had a long career. He was in the movie Shutter Island. You ever see that?
Yeah.
There's a Scorsese film. He was in Robin Hood, Ridley Scott's Robin Hood.
Oh yeah, he was funny in that as the old guy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Funny in that,
yeah. He was in Star Wars too, and Game of Thrones. He's in a bunch. I think he was in something else too. But yeah. I think he did in the movie. I think he did he wear an eye patch in the movie, Lee?
To be honest, I'm struggling to remember Max von Sydow.
He was like the German major that
I can remember
he was a German major that wanted to put the game together because
that he was
the Germans thought that they were just going to they wanted to embarrass them in all these like prisoners in the camp. They wanted to embarrass them, and they wanted to put together the German teams. And I think I don't know if Adolf made an appearance or not, but I just remember that he was the one that he was like secretly rooting for the Allies.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it in my mind if it was Max von Sydow. What I'm going to do is I'm going to Google it.
Google it real quick. Okay. Yep. Michael Caine played. Can anyone name the name? Do you know the name of the player that he, or what was his name in the movie?
Yeah,
Captain
John.
Keep going.
Captain John Chariot.
Oh, close.
John Charles.
Alan Colby.
Colby, that's it.
Alan Colby. Yep. And Pele was a corporal. He was Corporal Luis Fernandez. They just said, get him a Spanish sounding name. I don't care that he's from Portugal. He's from Brazil.
Yeah, it was Max von Sydow in The Great Escape. Yeah, it was him. Yeah, you're right. Googled it. I couldn't get it in my mind. I could remember the essence of the character, and like, yeah, he was on the German side, like. But nice. Yeah, I always think of him mainly as Father Merrin from The Exorcist. He was he wasn't that old when that was filmed, but they made him look that old with makeup, didn't he? But I like him in The Seventh Seal. He's good as the knight. He's a knight who returns, isn't he?
Can you name? I'll give you. Here's a fun question, Norm. This is for you, Norm, too, and for Bernie, since she's and Marion. You can ask your hubby for this one. There were two they weren't on screen, but they worked with Sylvester Stallone in teaching him how to be a goalkeeper. There were two goalkeepers from England. Can you name the two goalkeepers that were involved in the film in helping Sylvester Stallone know how to be an actual World Cup goalkeeper? And you will, and the names you should know because they're prolific names.
Two goalies who helped fly out. Peter Shilton.
No. I want to see if Norm. You got some good trivia questions in there. Correct on one of them, Bernie. That is correct. Gordon Banks.
Yeah, Banksy. Banksy.
And does anyone know the other name? The other name might not be as prolific or knowing, but
Pat Jennings.
Nope. Probably not know him. The other one was Alan Thatcher.
I've never heard of him.
Yeah,
Alan Thatcher, no.
Yeah, but Gordon Banks was the English World Cup winning goalkeeper, right?
Yeah, he was superb. Gordon Banks, he was another level then.
Yep. So people don't. I'll take Lee down until he gets sit back down. All right. Yeah, sometimes you gotta remember that you're on screen there. So just so you know, people are getting a little eyeful there. You're good. Yeah, there were some really good things. There's some good players. It was a good movie. One of my favorite movies actually growing up.
Yeah, it's a good feel-good film. That like all them are, because although there's loads of pedal and that, like, because of the Nazis, the good feel-good films, that and The Great Escape. Bloody me getting that mixed up, saying Donald Pleasance was in Escape to Victory, Going Blind with James Garner. That was The Great Escape, obviously. Don't know where I got that from. That was in Escape to Victory. It's a totally different means of escape and Escape to Victory.
Do you know? I'll ask this one. So it was obviously supposed to be portraying. It was supposed to be portraying occupied territory of France. Was supposed to be where it was being portrayed, because those are the people that helped them get out of when they won the game. I'm not giving any spoilers away, but when they won the game, that's how they got out. I think, Bernie, I think you're right. He did. I think he was blind in one eye or something. I think he did.
Yeah, he was. He had a gammy eye. He had a lazy eye. And he always played good against us for Leicester. Leicester were our bogey team in the late 60s, early 70s, especially in the FA Cup. They were a bogey side for Liverpool. There's a picture of him like smiling when Leicester have just knocked us out the cup in the late 60s. There's still of him smiling in this old Liverpool program I had years ago when I was a kid. But yeah, he was a great goalkeeper. He's a nice bloke as well. Go up and banks, like quiet, unassuming guy. For a goalkeeper, because oftentimes goalkeepers can be quite mad and extrovert and that, but he was a really chilled, quiet guy. Like, if we'd have had him in goal in 1970, we wouldn't have went out in our defence of the World Cup. It was Peter Bonetti as a stand-in, the Chelsea keeper, Bonetti, no good. The cat, he calls him. The Prat, more like it.
I was just going to ask, do you know where was the stadium that they played in? What country did they film it in?
Escape to Victory?
Italy?
No. It was supposed to
I would
be
say South America.
It was supposed to be Cologne Stadium, Colombes Stadium in Paris.
Okay.
But that's the stadium was supposed to be portraying. But where was it filmed, actually?
Oh, in England. It's got to have been filmed in England, and it's Shepperton Studios.
No. That game that they had was filmed in
South America.
No, Hungary. Budapest.
Oh, okay.
Budapest. Budapest, eh? Bloody hell. Who'd have thunk it?
I'll ask you this one last question. This is the last one I'll tell about Escape to Victory movie. Can you name? There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 players that were actual real life football players who appeared in the film. We already spoke about Pele as one of them. Can you name? What's the number you think? What number do you think can go?
Russell Osman, John Wall.
Oh no, I'm asking what's the number? I'm asking you what's the number you think can go, and I'll see if the chat can do one better. We'll make it like name that tune, but in reverse. You know, when you're like, I can name that tune in 5 notes. I can name it in 4, but it's in reverse. How many players do you think you can name in that 15 list?
Quite a few. I think I could name quite a few.
7, 8? What is it? There's 15 of them.
I could maybe name, maybe about 7 or 8.
7 or 8? Can the chat name more than 7? That's the question. That's the question. I think he's named 4 already. So, yep. He has named 4 already, I think. And yeah, he has named 4. All right. Well, go ahead. Name your 7.
Kazimierz Dana. was the Hungarian player. I think Wim Kieft might have been in it. Wim Kieft.
Wait. Dana's one of them. Okay. Then who else?
Wim Kieft, Wimkieft, the Dutch midfielder. Might have been in it.
What's his first name?
Wim, as in William. Wim.
Don't see Wim.
Okay, what about Johnny Method, the Dutch midfielder? Johnny Method. Metod.
I don't know if I see that name either. Let me get all the names there for you. Because I think I can remember 4 of them. Oh wow, Bernie can name 10.
You got your Ozzy Ardiles, you've got your Pele, you've got your Russell Osman, your John Moore. Was Bobby Moore actually in it?
Bobby Moore was in it.
Yeah, Bobby Moore was in it. Yeah. I'm sure there was a French player in it, but like you weren't even that famous. It was like, who's this dude? Never hardly heard of him. I'm sure there was a French bloke in it.
Wow, I did not know this. There's an interesting. So there is a team. There is a team in the Premier League, currently in the Premier League, who had
that's it.
At least 5 players in the movie.
Yeah, Ipswich, that'll be.
Yeah, there you go.
I
didn't know. It's just
Terry Butcher was in it, wasn't he? Terry Butcher.
Yeah.
Yeah, Terry Butcher, Russell Osman, John Moore, Kevin O'Callaghan.
Russell Osman, Laurie Savell, you said that right? Robin Turner, Kevin O'Callaghan. Yeah, there you go. Marion's got. There you go. Nice. Yeah, says a lot. Yeah, definitely. Do you even know that?
Mike Summerby. How could I forget Mike Summerby? Couldn't forget that nose. Thought I had a big. Well, I have got a big nose, but Mike Summerby's is just like, and it takes you to another level. One of our songs years ago was, I'd walk 1,000,000 miles to the end of your nose, Mike Summerby. We used to have a song for Kenny Dalglish. I'd walk 1,000,000 miles for one of your goals, oh Kenny. But with Summerby, I'll walk 1,000,000 miles to the end of your nose. He had a son, Mike Summerby, who used to play for Swindon, I think. And he had a similarly big nose, like. Made mine look small.
That's pretty wild, though. I never knew that there was that many players from Ipswich Town. Apparently, there were so many players from Ipswich Town that those are the 5 that got on as actual players. But there were even some Ipswich players that got in as actors, or as in the actors in the background. Pretty wild. Big up to the Tractor Boys. Did not know that they were. Tractor Boys are starlets.
He was a very good team then. That was Bobby Robson's Ipswich that won the UEFA Cup against AZ Alkmaar. That was that period, Bobby Robson, and then from there he went on to be England manager after Ipswich. But he was a very good side because he was a very good manager who went on to manage Barcelona and gave Jose Mourinho his start in football, didn't he? Because he was Bobby Robson's interpreter at Barcelona, the special one. He's a brilliant manager, and he's a lovely man as well. Bobby Robson, he's a dead nice fella and all that one. Just pure football, just one of those pure football guys, like everything's the football. But he was great, Bobby Robson, smashing Ipswich side. That remember it quite well. Eric Gates, and Paul Mariner, they were 2 of the forwards, Gates and Mariner. Kevin Beattie, the centre half. Got loads of good players.
Yeah.
And they brought Dutch players over, like they brought Arnold Muren over, who then went to United, the left winger. Well, he's like a left midfielder. He weren't a winger. He was a left-sided midfielder. Played on the left, but he weren't a winger. but he come into the Ipswich team. Yeah, I remember that team quite well from my sticker book when I was a kid.
Yeah. Well, all right, one last one. This is just me. I think Pop's still in the thing, still in here too. So this is a question. This is a trivia question for you. All right. Or not even a trivia question. This is a crazy stat. Do you realize that if Darwin Núñez's next goal in the Premier League, his next goal that he scores for Liverpool, obviously will have to be in Premier League, since we're on all the other competitions. Do you realize that Darwin Núñez, if he scores just one more freaking goal, will be top 20 South American goal scorer of all time in the Premier League history? That's wild? Isn't it? He sits currently at 21st, along with another player. Can you name the second? Can you name the player he's tied with at 21st for a South American player? This is the most Premier League goals by a South American.
Who's he tied with?
Who is Darwin Núñez tied with at 21st in the list?
Nalberto Solano.
I'll give him to you. Who is it though?
Nalberto Solano, the former Peruvian and Newcastle winger.
No. Do you want to take a guess, JK? Now, Pops, I'll give you the list.
Solano is a good one.
I know. I know.
I'm just trying to think about it. Let's go with Emerson.
Emerson, the Brazilian midfielder. Currently, the 21st, the two players tied for 21st with the most goals by a South American player in Premier League history are Darwin Núñez and Luis Diaz.
Crazy.
Wow. You know that.
I'll even do you one better. Who's tied for, or not tied? Oh yeah, he's tied for 22nd technically. It would be Alexei McAllister.
Okay.
Yeah. McAllister's 23rd. Technically, 21st is Darwin, 22nd is Lucho, 23rd is Macca. And that is wow. South America. He's never getting close to number one, dude. No way. At number one, y'all know who's number one. Who's the number one scoring South American in Premier League history? You all know that, I'm sure. Right? KJ just said it. Sergio Aguero. He has 184 goals. 184 goals in his.
So he's number one, yeah?
Yeah, he's number one. How about this? Do you realize that there are two players that have worn red in the top 5? Can you name the two players? Sergio Aguero has 184 goals. There's such a difference between first and second, by the way. Holy crap. Huge difference between first and second. But in the top 5, there's 2 players. Well, there's 3 players technically that wore red. But I mean for us. Yes, Norm, for us. There's 2 players that have worn Liverpool red. Can you name the 2 players, 2 South Americans that are in the top 5? And I give you more credit if you can name where they are in the top 5. You want to take a guess, JK? Lee? You guys are more than welcome. Suarez is one of them. That is correct, Marion.
Maxi Rodriguez?
No. Suarez is one of them. Yep, KJ. Yeah, you're right. Lady Southwood got that one. Bernie got that one too. Early, and so did Pops. Norm. Oh, I see everyone got that one. But who's the other player?
Firmino.
There you go. That was a layup.
I thought it was too obvious for Firmino. That's why I went for Duzar first. Maxi Rodriguez. But
it is impressive, though, the fact that Suarez has 69 goals in 110 games, right? In 110 matches, he has 69 goals. And then it goes Jesus, Bobby, Carlos Tevez as going up in order in the list. But it's incredible. He had 110 matches, 69 goals. Those other players played twice the number of games. Twice the number of games. Pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. And what's even more incredible is that Aguero had 184 goals in 275 matches, I'll admit, but 184 goals. Tevez in second place, 84 goals. He had 100 more goals. That's pretty impressive. I would have thought that there would have been in the Premier League, there would have been at least one player, or at least more than one player to have over 100 goals. Wouldn't you have thought that? JK? Oh, I see he's back. That's pretty incredible. Tevez was an animal, though. He was. Tevez was one of those players that was like, man, he's that kind of player that you would like to have as a starter or on your bench because you knew you're getting absolute 100%, like intensity.
He come over, didn't he, with Mascherano? The two of them came over to West Ham. Mascherano came to us and Tevez went off to... Where did Tevez go first before United?
He went to Man City as well, didn't he?
Yeah. Did he go to... He went to Man City first, didn't he? And then to Man United?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a very good player.
Suarez is the best player I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes live playing football. What a player, bro. He was something special.
Someone said Coutinho. I think KJ said Coutinho. Coutinho was number 11. He didn't make top 10.
Okay.
I will admit that there is a name in the top 10 that is somewhat surprising to see. I already gave the top 5. Number 6 is Sanchez. I expected that because he was prolific.
Yeah.
Number 9 is Solano.
Okay.
William is number 10.
Okay.
Gus Poyet is number 8. But can you guess the number 7? Who's the 7th all-time goal scorer for South Americans in the Premier League? Who is the 7th all-time goal scorer in Premier League? That's only Premier League history, not in first division, obviously. William is number 10. I don't think Furlan is up there. Let me see. No, Furlan is not up there. He was a prolific goal scorer, but he wasn't, apparently. I guess he did not score that many goals, enough goals to make the top 25. He's behind, really bad players like Darwin Núñez and Lucho.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of it, but you've forgotten.
It is a wild name, people. It's a wild name that I was not expecting to see in the top 10.
Diego Costa, no?
Is not, because Costa is
Valencia. Man United player, Valencia.
If you're talking about Diego Costa, he's Spain. He's Spanish.
No, he's Spanish. Yeah.
Juninho is not in the list either. Ramirez is not there either. I don't know who. Forlan. Forlan was rubbish in the Prem, to be fair. Okay. Yep. Oh, I just said that too. Faustino? No? I can give you. You want me to give you the answer? Or do you want me to give you like a clue?
You give us a clue.
I'm trying to give you a clue that won't give it away. This player has played. This player has played.
Yeah, Jesus. Marianne's answer. Jesus, I reckon.
Jesus is Gabriel Jesus is top 5.
Oh, okay.
Which is surprising, but yeah, he's played a bag of games. Jesus has played 229 games.
That's a
lot.
So
he's played a bunch of games. This player is Brazilian. I'm about to let this be the last question because my stomach is growling for food. I don't want you guys thinking that's like my
no, mine is too. I'm done.
Yeah. And I'm also 15 minutes away from hopefully Team USA spanking the Canucks. Hopefully. That would be him.
Charleston?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
The pigeon is number 7.
The pigeon, not the pigeon.
Yeah. I know. He is number 7. And actually, you know what? I don't. Is he done for the year? He got injured in that. He got injured in that game against us. I don't know if that was like a season-ending injury or not. I know it was like a hamstring injury, I think, or something. In the League Cup game at home, he got injured in that game. Or it was either, or maybe it was at Anfield actually they got injured. Aguero is number 1. Aguero is number 1 by a landslide. He's 184 goals. But yes, Richarlison is 1 goal away from becoming number 6 on the list. He's at 62 goals. He sits 1 goal behind Alexis Sanchez at 63. That's why I was wondering if he's going to have an opportunity. Because I think this might be his last year. This might be his last year at Tottenham. It might be. But you never know. I'll keep you updated whether Darwin Núñez joins the top 20 or not. I'll definitely keep you updated. I will admit this: there is a player in the top 20 that we're looking at. That is, I was surprised to see his name in there. To tell you the truth, but he's in the top 20. Has done so in less games than our players do. That would be Mateus Cunha, who Lee spoke of earlier. He's in the top 20. Yeah, no one supports the pigeon, really. Anyhow, people, we're a long way over. I got to get some food on the griddle. Get my seat on the couch so I can watch, hopefully, U.S. play for some type of ounce of pride. You know,
Who's they playing, bro? Panama
we
again.
play Beijing Barnes in the streets. Canucks. Team Canada.
Oh, okay. It's a derby then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is the Hadji Wright in the squad? No.
Yeah.
Is Hadji
no,
Wright?
Wright is still injured. He's still injured.
No. He came back for Coventry and scored a hat trick the other day.
Oh wow. Yeah, he's not.
Man.
Or
He came
at
back
least
from
he wasn't.
injury.
Yeah, he wasn't available, or he wasn't on the roster for this one. That's cool.
Maybe next time.
Hadji Wright's one of your best players. To tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't Lampard your coach or that coach?
Yeah, Lampard's the coach.
Yeah,
he's doing all right. He's got them into fifth place. Yeah, fifth place. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Darwin doesn't play for. I would take Darwin Núñez as the number 9 for Team USA any day. All right, especially considering what we have currently. So, I have not seen the rumors on Kane, on Harry Kane. What are the rumors? What are the rumors? Oh, really? Yeah, okay. Maybe someone's watching us. Maybe someone's watching our show. Remember we were talking about Harry Kane possibly becoming a Liverpool Red?
Mm-hmm.
How about this? Let's go get Harry Kane. Have him for another 2 years. Sign him to a 2-year deal. He comes back. He breaks the record for goals as a Red. Breaks Shearer's record possibly for goals as a Red. That'd be fantastic. We get him we'll get him a league title. Maybe even throw a Champions League in there. Yeah. All of a sudden. I mean, he's got more chance of doing that with us than he does than Spurs. So I guess that was an unnecessary knock at our friends, the Spurs. But yeah. Playing instead of Tony if we don't get Isak.
Oh, Pop's funny, man.
Yeah.
That's shameless 12.
No, I know.
We still got 9 games left, bro. You can't talk about Kane. You know?
Yeah. Well, I'm not talking about this year. I'm not talking about this year. I'm talking about next year. I'm talking about next year.
But KJ says plan B is Tony if we don't get Isaac.
Yeah, that's what he said. I'm down with that. I'm cool with that. Bring him in. I don't care. Hey, I'm down with that. USA is next for Harry. Okay. He knows it. He knows it too. He's talking about me. I got you. 50 million. 50 million is what they're asking for. Would you spend 50 million, Lee, for Harry Kane in the summer window?
How old is he now?
He is old. I can tell you.
Pushing 60.
No.
Aren't we all?
We're starting league.
He is 31. He's 31.
Yeah, he can score for another 2 years.
Not for 50 million.
He'll be 32 in July. He'll be 32 in July.
I'd rather
But me, get Kane to break the record as a Red, bro. That's the slogan we're going to use.
I mean, yeah, he could work for 2 seasons, but not at 50 million. Like, I prefer to spend 62 on Cunha, who's like 8 years younger than him or something.
Would you rather have Tony, or would you rather have Kane as your plan B if Isak doesn't, if we can't get Isak?
Kane for me. I'd even
I
have
would go
Kane as my plan A.
Even at that age, I would go Kane over Tony.
I'll go Kane A, yeah, 100%.
I mean, like, it's not like he's not. I mean, he's doing well right now. It's not like he hasn't or isn't scoring for Bayern. Man's got 22 starts and 21 goals. Has a nose for goal, I guess. Well, before we get this to be a 4-hour show, this is only supposed to be a 2-hour show, people. We're now an hour and 40 minutes way over. People are going to see this in the title and be like, they talked about Darwin Núñez for 4 hours? No.
It was getting rocky earlier, man. Man was getting passionate about that topic.
Oh, we were getting passionate for sure. But yeah. We'll bring up some more of these rumors. We're gonna do definitely like a little eye on the league or eye on our internationals abroad tomorrow. Hopefully Lee, I don't know if he'll be wearing an armband tomorrow or not. Or maybe this is the start of something. Now that he's got to start as being on back on camera, maybe
visible again. Yeah, I don't mind doing that again for a bit. Yeah.
All right.
The other side.
You know, he's got his snazzy little jacket on. He's looking all fly and dapper. Good for him. All right, I got you. And JK as well. Hopefully, both of these gentlemen will be available tomorrow. Possibly have some of our the other members of our crew with us tomorrow too. But most importantly, hopefully we have you there too as well. I know KJ's got work. Maybe KJ will be a part of the crew tomorrow or not if he's got some time. But yeah. Norm, I got you. But all the same, we appreciate the fact that it was kept pretty respectable. There was no name calling and any of that stuff about people's opinions or people's takes. It was just a conversation. That's what it was. And like I said earlier, I think we all want the same result, and that is glory for our Reds, plain and simple. So, you know, as much as I'll support those Reds on the pitch, I'll support you in the chat. And as always, I always say up the Reds, as always. So any shout did you want to give to the people before we let them go, Lee?
No, just thanks for the contributions, everyone. Thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow night.
All right. And JK?
Yeah, bro. Blessed to the chat. For you, Lee. Top show, bro. Nice bloke. Good luck. Okay.
Definitely. I don't know if Núñez will be on our show tomorrow, but but all the same, I hope that you are a part of our show tomorrow. So, and if KJ, if you are available, definitely join. So, but all things due, appreciate everyone. Bless up to each and every one of you. Hope that you have an incredible Sunday evening, morning, afternoon, whichever part of the day it is for you. And as always, up the Reds, my friends. Up the Reds. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy.